honored, and I don't take it lightly.
All right, back now with breaking news.
They love Antonio Pierce.
Antonio Pierce's team now.
I was born a Raider. Short story, the matter of fact is I grew up in Compton, California. I was born with the Raiders rolling in the Coliseum in L.A.
Sold out Los Angeles Coliseum.
I was rolling with NWA, talking straight out of Compton, rocking Raider hats. So that's what set me up for this. I was born this way. That is just us against the world, and that's our mentality going to be right now, us against the world. Raider Nation against everybody else.
He's sacked, touchdown Raiders! And it's picked up!
Amazing. Absolutely beautiful.
You hear the chant from the crowd, and if you can't make it out, we'll do it for you. That chant by Raider Nation is AP. They clearly want Antonio Pierce to be the head coach of this franchise moving forward.
New day, new chapter, new mindset.
That's different. That's different. That's different. That's different. That's different.
The Raiders have officially hired their head coach, Antonio Pierce.
And now I'd like to introduce an old friend with a brand new name, Antonio Pierce, head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Antonio Pierce's team now.
Yeah.
So I'm excited because I do think Antonio Pierce is a natural-born leader.
And it's a newfound energy. You are going to see a different Raiders team by the style of play with Antonio Pierce. I'm ready to go, and they absolutely can turn this thing around.
Another time. On the ground, picked up by the Raiders.
It starts with our DNA. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be overnight. We're going to exhaust every possible resource and ounce of sweat, tears, and effort, and night, and minute, and second that we have to turn this bad boy into a consistent, winning organization that is used to and that it deserves.
Hey, let's go. Hey, this is the start of everything, man. Be detailed today, fly around, have fun. Let's get it. Gang on me, gang on 3, 1, 2, 3.
And just win. It's the Raider way.
Antonio Pierce is committed to bringing back the Raider way. Armed with fierce competitors, he has preached competition at every position. And AP's regime in the start of the Silver and Black 24 preseason starts today here in Minneapolis as we welcome you inside U.S. Bank Stadium. Preseason game number 1 of 3 here in 2024. Hey folks, how are you? Jason HOROWITZ, 2002 MVP Rich Gannon, 4-time Super Bowl champ MATTMILLEN. Happy to once again have football. We know what this is going to look like from competition. We know the battles that are going to take place here over the next 3 weeks. But Rich, for the Raiders, there hasn't been a battle at quarterback going into a season for a while. We got one now.
We have some uncertainty, unfortunately, Jason. And for the 10th straight season, 10 or more teams will start a different quarterback week 1, and that's the reality for the Raiders. Aiden O'Connell finished the season strong last year, was 5-5 as a starter. Gardner Minshew comes over from the Colts. He won 7 games last year. 2 very different players. O'Connell more of a pocket passer. Gardner Minshew can create and manufacture some offense on his own. But Matt, not the position you really want to be in August, still trying to figure out who's going to line up week 1.
There's an old saying in the National Football League, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any. So what they have to do is be able to define what exactly kind of offense they're going to be running with each individual quarterback. You mentioned it. They're different guys. Minshew more of a guy who he kind of knows what you know what he is. He's a runaround guy a little bit. Aiden O'Connell has very good accuracy, has a nice strong arm. He's still learning, and his best football is out there. So you have a guy who you know who he is and a guy who's undefined. It'll be interesting to see where they go.
And Aiden O'Connell 5-4 as a starter the last 9 games last year, all under Antonio Pierce, who does not look at this quarterback battle necessarily as a negative.
You have competition. Some people see competition at the quarterback position as like, oh my God, we're scared. No, I love it. Because the rest of our team are looking at them. So what does everybody else on our team have to do? They have to compete. And what we now have is competition throughout our entire roster. There's competition in the running back room, that defensive line room. There's some boys in there. There's some grown men in there that can play football. Not going to be able to keep all of them. Our linebacker room, our DBs. I mean, there's some guys here that's really seeing the competition at quarterback has risen the level of competition overall on our team.
And it is that battle that will play itself out over the next couple of weeks. Here in the preseason, the Vikings won the coin toss, elected to receive, put Sam Darnold on the field first, which means that the Raiders will be kicking off with this new NFL dynamic kickoff. And the only spot where we don't have competition, and that is the kicking game between Daniel Carlson and A.J. Cole. So here's your setup this year. If you're not familiar with the new kickoff, it will be kicked off still from the 35. That is the same, but what is different? The rest of your team is lined up at the opposing 40. The receiving team will be between the 30 and 35. Now, they are actually not lined up in the right spot. The Raiders are on the 45, and you see them moving forward. So it's
new for everybody.
That's right. They're getting the kinks out. The yellow on your screen, that is the landing zone. The ball has to go between the goal line and the 20, and there are different touchback points. If it bounces in there first into the end zone and it's touchback, it's out to the 20. If it goes into the end zone first, touchback, out to the 30. So there's a lot of different ways they're going to play it. Special teams coach Tom McMahon is not necessarily revealed, as most coaches around the NFL have not, how they're going to do it in the regular season. But everybody is doing it for the first time here in live play. Carlson gets it underway. It does bounce in the end zone first and all the way through the end zone. So that is a touchback that will come out to the 30-yard line, which is where the Vikings will take over.
The interesting thing about this is you can't move until the guy returns it or it gets dropped inside that zone. So it's it'll take some time to get used to.
It is.
It did take some of the strategy out of the game, especially with the onside kicks.
Well, and remember, last year, kickoffs, they were not returned very often. 21% on the year.
Lowest kickoff return rate in NFL history during the 2023 season, and also an unacceptable injury rate in kickoffs prior to that. So really a fine line between trying to balance the safety and also not take away what could be a very exciting play.
And off to Ty Chandler on the opening play. Divine Diablo, and yes, that is Max Crosby out on the field. Antonio Pierce, when he has preached competition, Matt, he said the starters are going, and we're going to see almost all the starters today.
Yeah, and you have to. I mean, you have to get some play out of them, especially here at the beginning of the season. They'll play for maybe 10 plays or so, but you got to get the kinks out, and you got to get ready to roll.
Antonio Pierce, when he took over last year, the defense in his 9 games gave up just 16 points per game. There's a 2nd and 7 for Sam Darnold, looking to pass. Open receivers, Jalen Naylor across midfield. And that is Trayvon Merrick, new number this year, wearing number 7 on the stop, but a first down for the Vikings.
This will be good. This will be a good test for the Raiders defense going against some veteran players. Sam Darnold's been in the league 7 years, Matt. You got a lot of the starters out there for the Vikings. And like the Raiders, the Vikings still trying to figure out their quarterback situation. They've got Sam Darnold. They drafted J.J. out of Michigan. And, of course, they're excited to see both J.J. McCarthy and Sam Darnold here in the first quarter.
1st and 10 for the Vikings opening drive. They're in Raiders territory. It is a handoff to Chandler right into the waiting arms of Malcolm Kuntz. And, you know, Max Crosby last year, deservedly so, all the credit. Malcolm Kuntz came on in a big way the second half of the season.
The second half of the season, you could see he arrived. And now he has to build off of that. He's got some good pass rushing skills. He's got to really kind of refine them. But when he's playing like this, and he's coming off the ball hard like this, he's hard to stop.
Yeah, all 8 of his sacks came after week 8, after the coaching change. And, of course, can't have enough good pass rushers coming off that edge.
Kind of reminds me of an old Rod Martin, how he played out here.
To pass, there's pressure from Christian Wilkins. Deep shot from Darnold, and away over the head of Jordan Addison. That is Jack Jones deep in coverage, and it'll be 3rd and long. And, you know, off the edge so often is where you think of the pressure. But when the Raiders made that big splash to bring in Christian Wilkins, that changed the defensive line as well.
Well, you get a big, strong, dominant force inside. That's just what the doctor ordered for Max Crosby in that Raiders pass rush.
Well, you got to get some help from the inside. As long as you make the guy move, and he did. You made him uncomfortable in the pocket. The ball's out. And then you had Jack Jones down there, had pretty good coverage on him. So I think Jones is pretty good. He's had a pretty good camp so far.
Came over last year, active the last 7 games after it was released by the Patriots, and he made a major impact. 3rd down for Darnold. Clean pocket down the field, open receiver, and that is Jalen Naylor down to the 22-yard line on a a pickup of 26 yards.
Nice job by that nice protection. Had a lot of time, was able to step into that thing. That ball's right where it needs to be. They're just playing a little bit of zone back there, hitting in front of the deep stuff and right on top of the second level.
We talked about the Raiders playing most of their starters on both sides of the ball. Vikings, with the exception of Justin Jefferson and a couple of others, they're going with their expected starters too. Another first down handoff to Ty Chandler, trying to get the edge. Divine Diablo and Merrick met him there at the 19-yard line after a pickup of 3.
And Matt, here's where the Raiders have to be better in 2024. The red zone defense. They were 26 in red zone. Good defenses in this part of the field, as you know, force you to kick field goals. It's an area where Antonio Pierce and Patrick Graham have spent a lot of time this offseason.
It's interesting. Patrick Graham didn't waste any time of bringing some pressure because he came strong off that. He came hard off that strong side. Of course, they ran away from it, but set up 2nd and 7.
Two tight ends set for the Vikings. That's Addison at the top of your screen. Goes in motion, the second-year pro out of USC. Bootleg from Darnold, open receiver, and it hit him in a bad spot. Hands and helmet. Looked like MATTMILLEN on an out route.
No, I'd have caught it.
They'll bring up third down. You mentioned the red zone defense, Rich, that has to get better. But the defense drastically improved overall last year in Patrick Graham's second season from his first 2 years ago.
Well, there's no question about it. You mentioned, when Antonio Pierce took over that team, they went 5-4 down the stretch, and they were a different team, especially defensively. They averaged 7.1 more points per game, allowed 7.5 fewer points per game from weeks 9 through week 18. AP had a huge impact on both sides of the ball.
Darnold on third down. The out route is caught right at the sticks. Addison in front of Jones, and they will spot it with a first down for Minnesota inside the 13-yard line.
And they went man right here the whole time. That's not bad coverage. They got to get some pressure to that. Ball's coming out relatively quick, so going to have to get inside pressure. You got to make a move off this spot.
We saw Sam Darnold last year in a Niners uniform, was competing with Trey Lance for the backup role behind Brock Purdy. He won that job. Lance got traded to Dallas. Signed a one-year deal here with the Vikings before they drafted J.J. McCarthy. He's on the rollout again. It's Crosby giving chase. Dumps it short to the tight end, Oliver. And he steps out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. They'll spot him at the 5. Jack Jones there again. And it's been an impressive drive from Minnesota to open this game.
And Jason, you mentioned Sam Darnold, 3rd overall pick by the Jets back in 2018. The problem he had with the Jets, he was careless with the ball security. Followed him from USC, was a problem when he's with the Trojans. A couple seasons in Carolina, again, some problems taking care of the football. Spent last year with the 49ers, backed up Brock Purdy, was with Brian Griese and that staff. I think he really grew from that opportunity, but turnovers have been an issue for Sam Darnold.
On it's 2nd and 3. See if the Raiders defense here can come up with a stop. Merrick with his arms around Chandler, his 4th tackle already. 4th-year safety out of TCU, and so this will bring up another 3rd down. So far the Vikings have converted both.
Yeah, I think that's one of Merrick's strengths, is at the line of scrimmage. He has a good way of getting off blocks for safety, and he also understands he can fill. That's outstanding. Well, let me say this. It's outstanding by the defensive player. It was pathetic for the offensive player.
You love a guy that's willing to show up in the run game, Matt, to play that position here.
3rd and 2 for the Vikings. They can get a first down just inside the 2. Darnold dancing in the pocket, looking into the end zone. Hit as he throws, and it's incomplete at the goal line. They're running back Ty Chandler, the intended receiver, and again it was Trayvon Merrick right in the coverage.
Yeah, right on top of it. They went man. They got some pressure, moved them off the spot, and it resulted in completion. That's what you want to be able to do. So you get them to move. A little bit tougher on the quarterback to find a guy when you're moving.
Especially when you get a right-handed quarterback, make him move to his left, Matt. It's a really good job being patient.
Well, and Antonio Pierce now gets his defense in a pressure situation because Kevin O'Connell, and his 3rd year as head coach for the Vikings, going for it here on 4th and 2.
Better account for the quarterback's feet right here.
Arnold set to throw into the end zone. Broken up. Ja'Cory Bennett with great coverage on Jalen Naylor, and the silver and black kid off the field.
Right where he needed to be in his hip pocket. That was outstanding coverage.
So they give up a lot of yards. They don't give up any points. And the Raiders offense will be on the field after this stop by Bennett in the back of the end zone. Where Aiden O'Connell gets the start. It hadn't really been announced. He is going to be the starter here for the week 1 of the preseason. He and Gardner Minshew split the reps all throughout the camp in Costa Mesa. It's a handoff to Zamir White, and he burst through the hole out to the 9-yard line. And so Aiden O'Connell, last year, 4th-round pick out of Purdue, made 10 starts, went 5-5, but after Antonio Pierce was named interim head coach, he immediately named O'Connell the starter.
And the best thing he did was change his jersey number. I like Aiden O'Connell, number 12. And I also like the fact that he finished the season strong, Jason. 8 touchdowns and no interceptions in his final 4 starts. He got wins over the Chiefs, the Broncos, and the Chargers. This kid can play at this level.
And the starters playing Colton Miller, still on the PUP list, so not your left tackle, and Devontae Adams not here today either, but a dime over the middle, right between 2 defenders to the 2nd-year tight end, Michael Mayer. Blake Cashman made the stop, but that's a first down.
You're going to see a lot of that this year. You got 2 really good tight ends. That rookie can play. Mayer's another one, and he's very, very confident with these tight ends and the routes they run. And so with his accuracy on all with those short intermediate balls like that, we'll see a lot of that this year.
Now the rookie that you talked about, the 13th overall pick, that is Brock Bowers. He is in the game, tight to the formation, and he stays in the block. O'Connell's going to throw, has an open Myers, and he reaches up to make the grab in front of a Caleb Evans at the 39-yard line.
Caught him in the zone. Just picking the holes. That's all. He sees it perfectly right from the start, Rich.
I just love the 2 tight end set, Matt. Not always, they're both staying in the block. Right. I love the fact that you're able to use tight ends and use them in different situations, but this is going to be a really good offense to watch. You've got speed on the perimeter. You've got 2 really good tight ends. You got a couple of running backs that can tote the rock. You just need the production and consistency from the trigger.
Good start, and he's throwing again to the outside. Nice little juke. It's Myers out to the 45, and he stumbles his way in front of Ivan Pace Jr., 2nd-year linebacker out of Cincinnati.
Yeah, there was more to get there. He just tackled himself.
But he was a great addition to the offense last year. Career high 8 touchdowns in his first year coming from New England.
Yeah, he brought some quickness to the offense, you know.
Yeah, really.
There's speed and then there's quickness.
I think regardless of who plays quarterback, the Raiders have an excellent group of pass catchers. You got Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker's really come on this training camp. Michael Mayer, Brock Bowers. A lot of playmakers on the perimeter.
Another quick throw. It's Christian Wilkerson who stood up by Evans right at the line of scrimmage.
Nice play by Evans. That's a one-on-one out there all by yourself. Just you got to make that or nothing.
Christian Wilkerson made the 53-man roster out of camp last year, a couple of games. On the practice squad much of the season last year, and that 4th and 5th wide receiver spot open for the Raiders, who brought in Michael Gallup from Dallas in the offseason, but he retired right before camp started. So it opened up even more competition. You see 22. This year, that is not Amir Abdullah. That is Alexander Madison, the free agent from the Vikings.
Big kid, too.
On 3rd and 3, O'Connell to throw. In the pocket, hanging in there. And it's on target to Myers into Vikings territory, and they'll move the sticks.
Nice throw, Rich. Low and outside, the only place you could have it. He had defenders coming on the top of him. He stepped up in the pocket, had good control. Right now, look, he's seeing everything. Seeing the whole field. He had good sense of the pocket. Really well done.
Really nice job being patient, Matt. Working through his progressions, not panicking.
Right.
And giving the receiver Myers a chance to work at the top of the stem.
O'Connell has started this drive 4 for 4. Remember, this drive began on the 5. On the move and just too far in front of Trey Tucker. The 2nd-year wideout out of Cincinnati. His speed, such an asset, but it'll be 2nd and 10.
Every rep is so important for both of these quarterbacks, Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. This organization is still trying to figure out who's going to line up week 1 against the Chargers. And it's not just these game reps in the preseason. It's every rep in practice matters. In team periods, in blitz periods, in red zone periods, 2-minute periods. Every time you step on the field, this organization is evaluating your body of work and trying to determine who's going to give us the best chance to win week 1.
O'Connell again, throwing a lot on the drive. Threw it low. It was caught. That's the rookie, Brock Bowers, delivering the first down. Pace on the tackle, but the 2-time Mackey Award winner is the best tight end in college football delivered.
Yeah, and you know what I love about him? The kid, he likes to block. He runs really good routes. He can run. This kid's got some speed. He's fluid. He runs with the ball afterwards. This kid's the whole package.
And the great thing about it, Matt, is you can line him up anywhere. You can line him up in the backfield. He can be an inline player. You line him up in the slot, line him outside the numbers. He's got wide receiver traits at the tight end position.
Absolutely.
Run to Zamir White. That's a big hole. It closed quickly. He takes it down to the 21-yard line. And more on, Brock Bowers, you talk about you can line him up anywhere. Rich, he had 5 career rushing touchdowns. That's a tight end at Georgia.
Yeah, he played a lot of football at Georgia, Jason. 3-year starter, was the Mackey Award winner. Led the country from tight end perspective, yards after catch in each of the last 3 seasons. That's what I love about him. Once he gets the ball in his hands, he can really create some big plays.
He doesn't look that big, when you're around him. Like he's about maybe 6'3"-ish, maybe 240, something like that. But boy, he's got really good skills.
2 tight ends on the field. You're going to see a lot of that this year with Luke Getsy, the new offensive coordinator. They run that way. Power from Zamir White, and he carries Blake Cashman near the first down marker. And you're going to hear a lot of that with Zamir White, who's bulked up. He's around, as he told us yesterday in our meeting, around 230, and you see him, and whoa, is he big.
Yeah, here's the 1 tight end, and here's 2, and they're going to like this a lot. And now, it's one thing to have them there. It's another thing they block. Yeah, Zamir White, look, they've just systematically come right down the field, methodically. Getsky's calling these nice calls right here.
Offensive coordinator after 2 years with the Bears. On 3rd and short, O'Connell gets it out of his hands. It's an open Bowers, and he's inside the 10, down to the 8-yard line. The speed for the tight end, and it's 1st and goal for the Raiders.
I think you're going to see a lot of that, Rich.
He's got a feel for the type of coverage. And as we talked to Luke Getsy last night about him, his speed cuts out of the break are like a wide receiver. And as you said, Matt, he's going to touch the ball a number of different ways this year. They're going to throw it to him. They're going to toss it to him. You got to find ways to get your playmakers the ball in space. This kid is going to make a huge impact for the Raiders this season.
I agree, 100%.
Can they punch it in? This drive, if they cap it off, a 95-yard march through the middle. Zamir White inside the 5. Down to the 3-yard line. And again, you mentioned, Rich, on the defensive end, they have to get better in red zone defense from a year ago. The same is true for the offense.
Yeah, red zone offense not good enough, Jason, last year. Just 24. They got down in this part of the field. They scored touchdowns 49% of the time. They settled for way too many field goals. Good red zone teams have the ability to run the ball in this part of the field. You know that, Matt. You get down inside the 10-yard line. You got to get the big boys in there. You got to be able to pound the football. The field shrinks quite a bit for the defense. You have to be able to run the football.
They're throwing it. Back pylon and miscommunication. Looked like Trey Tucker started to go inside before outside, and it will be 3rd down and goal. And for Aiden O'Connell, and again, Antonio Pierce has said this all training camp, he has wanted a quarterback to take the control, come out and say, I'm the guy. This has been a very impressive drive.
It has been. The other thing to keep in mind is when you evaluate Aiden O'Connell, he had 2 different play callers last year, Jason. Now he starts the 2nd season. He's got another play caller in Luke Getsy. So I give this kid a lot of credit. He's bought in. He's done the work. He's been available. He studies. He's got a chance to be a talented player.
Can he cap it off on 3rd and goal? Pressure from behind, and down he goes. That's the rookie, Dallas Turner, the 17th overall pick, the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, and he interrupts that drive.
Looked like Andres Peak just got a little overwhelmed on the top side. He just got off the edge, just kept on coming. May have dropped a little bit with 1 more step. But, I mean, that's what he's taking, a 5-step drop right there.
So instead, it'll be Daniel Carlson to try a 31-yard field goal. One of the best in the business. Was 16 of 17 last year inside of 40 yards. Puts that one up, and it is through. So the Raiders defense got a 4th and goal stop. The Raiders offense began on the 5, and they go up 3-0 late in the first quarter here in Minnesota. Now the second-year pro out of Purdue led a 15-play, 83-yard drive, and it's 3-0 Raiders. As we take a look back at the drive brought to you by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of the Las Vegas Raiders. Visit creditonebanktravel.com. He was 7 of 9 on the drive, Rich, to 4 different receivers.
Yeah, he got the tight ends involved, got Mayer going. Of course, finds his young tight end, Brock Bowers out of Georgia. A big throw on 3rd down. Just looked very poised, very comfortable operating from the pocket.
You can get your tight ends involved and start using those inside defenders. That changes the whole outside game as well.
Yeah, the ability to attack in the middle of the field, whether it's 3rd down, whether it's down in the red zone, is so key in today's NFL.
Again, the new dynamic kick, this time coming down to the 10. Myles Gaskin with the flag thrown from behind. He does take it out to the 31-yard line. And we'll see Tom McMahon probably come up with different strategies to see how they want to play this new dynamic kick.
You know, there was some talk in the offseason about eliminating the play. I mean, think about last year's Super Bowl. We had 9 kickoffs, not a single return.
And 8 of them went through the end zone.
And I think they want to revive one of the most exciting plays in the game while at the same time decreasing the risk of injury with fewer high-speed collisions. And that's really the impetus behind this rule change.
Here's the flag. Ronald Torbert, our referee.
During the return, holding number 45 of the return team. The penalty is 10 yards from the spot of the foul. It's Minnesota's ball, 1st and 10.
All right, so that part of the kickoff is still the same thing. Holding will take you back. So Antonio Pierce and the defense gave up a ton of yards on the opening drive, but held up on a 4th down and goal. That was against Sam Darnold. Now he will take on
first look of J.J. McCarthy.
The 10th overall pick out of Michigan, the national champion last year after the undefeated season, and he got a huge ovation from this crowd. It's a handoff to Ty Chandler. Breaks into the secondary, and Trayvon Merrick, who has been everywhere already with his 5th tackle in the first quarter.
What a nice cut by him right at the line of scrimmage, because there was an open tackle and just went right by him. I think it was Adam Butler had a shot at him.
It was Adam Butler.
It wasn't Butler. It was Spillane.
Butler burst through on the backfield. Remember the Vikings? They brought in Aaron Jones from Green Bay after Josh Jacobs signed with the Packers. They give it back to Ty Chandler, and he does have enough for a 1st down. Adam Butler at the bottom of that pile, and that'll run this clock inside of 30 seconds.
After losing Kirk Cousins, Viking fans quickly turned their attention to J.J. McCarthy. They saw a lot of J.J. McCarthy. Remember, University of Minnesota plays in the Big Ten. They got a chance to see J.J. McCarthy develop. And I think the most impressive thing about McCarthy, when I studied him prior to the draft, he played in 17 games last year for the Wolverines, won all of them, and in 15 of those games, he didn't turn the football, he didn't throw an interception, Matt. Guy knows the importance of ball security, but it's going to be a real battle between he and Sam Darnold to figure out who starts week 1.
Maybe the final play of the quarter is another run to Ty Chandler. Cuts it to the outside, and he's tracked down again by Trayvon Merrick. The Raiders starting defense still on the field, but they are getting gashed here on this drive with now J.J. McCarthy at the helm, and that'll bring us to the end of the first quarter. Couple of long drives. The Raiders leading the Vikings 3-0. You're watching Raiders football presented by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of the Las Vegas Raiders. Visit creditonebanktravel.com.
Dude, you're looking ice cold.
You look ice cold, bro.
Guys, somebody's coming. Somebody's coming.
Let's do it.
There comes a day
When I'll be the one
you dream. It's gonna be great.
Dude, are you crying?
You've earned this, so hold it up high. Your 5-star chefs on 4 wheels, running your kitchen all over town, pushing through working hours and after hours. No matter rain or shine. Because when you stay hungry, your neighborhood stays fed. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
Now the Raiders will host 2 open practices at Allegiant Stadium, one on August 14th and then on August 20th. As the Silver and Black prepare for the 2024 season, practices are free and open to the public, and fans wishing to attend are encouraged to register for tickets at Raiders.com/open practice. And every Raiders game at Allegiant Stadium is the kickoff to an only Vegas experience. You got the best live sports, entertainment, nightlife, and more. You're always a winner in the greatest arena on earth. See more at visitlasvegas.com/sports. There you go. There's the full schedule. Opens with the Chargers on the road, ends with the Chargers at home, and everything in between there. Week 3 is your home opener against Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers.
One of just 4 teams to open with back-to-back road games. That won't be easy.
Well, for a second straight year, and the first 2 both against the Harbaugh brothers. Jim, now the coach of the Chargers, and John, one of the most tenured coaches in the NFL there in Baltimore.
Good news is they finished with 3 of the
Number 9.
4 games at home. 3 of the final 4 games at home, but just 1 primetime game this year, which is surprising.
Yeah, it is
Jason.
surprising.
Week 15, Monday night matchup with Atlanta.
There is the standalone game on Black Friday in Kansas City. Remember last year it was Christmas Day. Raiders went in there. The defense had back-to-back defensive touchdowns, and Malcolm Kuntz had 3 sacks of Patrick Mahomes. A bunch of the starters still on the field. Trayvon Merrick is not. Christian Wilkins is not, but everybody else is. KJ McCarthy's first career NFL pass. Headed to dart over the middle. Jalen Naylor, the 3rd-year pro out of Michigan State, having a very good first half of the Vikings offense.
That's really well done right there by JJ. Did a nice job of stepping up in the pocket. Kept his eyes downfield, didn't panic. He sees it right here. Now just make the throw. That's really well done. Playing the zone back there, so there's going to be a hole to throw it in.
Well, and accuracy was one of his strengths at Michigan. 72% completion percentage last year for Jim Harbaugh and the Wolverines. On the play action, Janaris Robinson gave chase, and he overthrew his fullback, C.J. Ham. Janaris Robinson, a former 4th-round pick of the Vikings 3 years ago, played the last month and a half with the Raiders last year.
Really nice job with his angle, getting upfield, anticipating the quarterback's movement to his right, really forcing a high throw. Really nice job there by Robinson. Understanding you're going to see him come up the field. He takes the good angle, Matt, up the field.
Yeah, he didn't bite the cheese underneath, because they're running a guy right under you, and that's to do 2 things. It's one is to slow you down, and then to get out into the route. But he ignored both and went right for the quarterback. Well done.
And Wanwu checks in as the running back, and that is Robinson who got the first hit on him to stop him right at the line and bring him into Adam Butler. So a couple of nice back-to-back plays. And there, we talked about it at the beginning of this broadcast, Matt, the competition at all the positions. And it's not just Max Crosby. There is a lot of depth along the defensive line now.
Yeah, more than they had a year ago, that's for sure. And they have better pass rushing depth as well. That particular play, Robinson just did a nice job of just coming down. Nobody blocked him, so you better make the tackle.
And there's Tyree Wilson, last year's 7th overall pick. He's moved inside as the Raiders show blitz on 3rd and 9.
I see him get off the ball. Ooh, he got off the ball pretty good there.
That's Robert Spillane, got into the backfield. Intercepted by the Raiders.
Well done.
Jones stepped in front of the receiver, and he picks up right where we left off last year. He has had a whale of a camp, and he just picked off J.J. McCarthy.
Nice job of Spillane coming on the blitz. He's got the pressure and able to move him to the right. And then there's a nice job of undercutting that throw. Really well done.
A couple of stops for the defense. Raiders up 3-0. Aiden O'Connell got the start this afternoon in Minnesota, went 7 of 9 on a long drive for a field goal. And now it is Gardner Minshew's turn, the sixth-year pro out of Washington State, signed to a 2-year deal in the offseason. He has been battling with O'Connell the entire camp. Some of the starters not on the field, a couple of new offensive linemen as well. But Minshew takes over for the Raiders, see what he can do. A handoff to Madison with a nice foot in the ground. And he's brought down by Lewis Seen, the third-year safety out of Georgia. So Gardner Minshew, obviously we saw Aiden O'Connell. We saw him last year. Your takeaway on Gardner Minshew and what to expect?
Well, originally a 6th-round pick out of Jacksonville. Played a couple seasons in Philadelphia. Last year got a chance to take over for Anthony Richardson when he went down. He played well. You know, he won 7 games. You look at him, not the biggest guy. He's 6'1", but he plays with a lot of energy, a lot of juice. He's got some swagger to him, and he can create. He can manufacture some plays with his feet.
Certainly a very different type of guy than Aiden O'Connell. Free play, open receiver, Trey Tucker. He settled into the spot and corrals it at the 35-yard line.
That's going to go against Minnesota, and they'll decline that penalty.
The one thing Gardner Minshew doesn't lack is confidence.
And he knew he had a free play, too, to take one down the field.
Yeah, good. And he stayed nice and calm, stepped into it, let the thing develop. Ball's where it had to be. Right in that hole.
Now, I think the crazy thing, too, is when you think of a quarterback battle, Rich, you assume one guy's going to stand out, he plays better, and clearly it's obvious. Perfect scenario is they both play great.
That is the perfect scenario. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. I think they've gone back and forth, and I think we talked to Antonio Pierce about that last night, Jason. One day O'Connell goes out and plays really well in practice. The next day, maybe not as good. He turns the ball over. Same thing with Gardner. I think it's been kind of that type of training camp where one quarterback has looked good for a couple days, fallen off. Both of them. When you study the numbers, you look at completion percentage and decision-making, touchdown interception ratio, the numbers are pretty similar. Obviously, Gardner Minshew has played a lot more football, and that's the difference. But they're going to have to make a decision. They're going to make a decision here pretty quick. I think it's a pretty close battle between both Minshew and O'Connell right now.
Second down, the toss play to Madison. He's got Thayer Munford in front of him. Nice block from the third-year pro out of Ohio State to get downfield, and Madison had with a nice game.
Madison had some success here with the Vikings. When he got the opportunity to play, he played well. He's a talented back, and that competition, Matt, in the running back room is going to be very interesting. We've got 4 or 5 guys very capable of toting the rock.
Madison's a big kid, and he's 225 pounds. That's not a little guy running back there.
Well, and that's not on a 6'2 frame either. That's on a 5'11 frame.
Yeah.
Same with Zamir White, both bigger running backs, which Raiders certainly got familiar with. Josh Jacobs.
4-down territory.
This is 3rd and 3 on the Vikings 27. Shotgun for Minshew. Vikings bring heat. He steps up. That's his ability. He's got a wide open lane. He picks up the first down with his legs, and he steps out of bounds in front of the heat-seeking Bobby McCain, and he'll move the chains.
Yeah, this is what he gives you. He gives you the ability when it's not there. He could find the hole, and he's willing to do that. We talked about the biggest difference between Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, I think, is the mobility. His ability to kind of create and manufacture, Matt, some plays when things break down around him.
Yeah, I think that's a big deal, too. I think Aiden O'Connell's more accurate than Minshew, and I think Minshew runs the football better than when Aiden doesn't run.
Minshew trying to pass, looking end zone. Open man, touchdown Raiders!
Nice
DJ Turner streaking to the corner. He's had a great camp, and the Raiders up 9-0.
That was a nicely thrown ball. Great anticipation, good touch, right where it needed to be. That's a heck of a throw.
And they like play action. Luke Getz did a lot of it last year in Chicago. You see the good fake to the running back. Good protection up front. A really nice throw by Gardner Minshew in the back of the end zone to DJ Turner.
That's a guy in his face right there. That's a really nice throw.
He didn't flinch.
Yeah, Jihad Ward, the veteran in his 9th year. DJ Turner, big-time special teams player the last couple of years. They think they got a great shot for him to make this team as a wide receiver and contribute. Carlson boots it through, and that's one more point. And is presented by Credit One Bank. The official credit card of the Las Vegas Raiders is at CreditOneBankTravel.com. A 6-play, 67-yard drive, and Gardner Minshew with a 20-yard touchdown pass to DJ Turner. They capitalize on the Jack Jones interception to go up double figures. So one drive for Aiden O'Connell, one drive for Gardner Minshew. Both produce points. DJ Turner, undrafted free agent 2021 out of Pittsburgh, has been part of the Raiders organization ever since. On the roster, on the practice squad, trying to make the roster again this year. He caught that 20-yard touchdown, and it has been an impressive first half so far in the opening preseason game for this franchise.
Yeah, both offenses have looked really good with both quarterbacks playing well. I think Aiden O'Connell had a really nice job. The drive to start the game, he went 7 for 9. Gardner Minshew comes in 2 for 3, throws a touchdown to DJ Turner. This is what the Raiders want. They want this to be a difficult decision at the quarterback position.
Yeah, remember the dynamic kickoff. Nobody can move except the returners until it's touched. And now they all go. Now to the 25, Myles Gaskin. And he's wrestled down to the turf by Dylan Laube, the 6th-round pick out of New Hampshire. So, Gardner Minshew, pretty impressive, both his arm and his leg.
Little Minshew magic, Matt.
Yeah, had some time, was able to see, was able to use his feet. All the things that we talked about that he's capable of, he delivered with. And, of course, that's a great throw right there.
And when you're a 6'1" quarterback, to be able to change the launch point, to be able to get him outside the tackle is a big part of it as well. This guy throws the ball very well on the move.
So how would you handle the rest of this, Rich? Would you, one drive for each, would you bring them back in? They're going to have to see from Antonio Pierce.
Yeah, look, I know they'd like to see a 2-minute drive. I know they'd like to get, talking to Antonio Pierce last night, they'd like to see Gardner Minshew in that situation to get a 2-minute drive. I thought that Aiden O'Connell would play a little bit longer in the first quarter, and that Gardner would come in the second quarter, but they made the change early. So I think they're going to be smart about it. But look, this regardless of what happens here the rest of the night, this is going to be a decision that's going to take a couple weeks to sort through.
And not just based on the games either, right? Based on all the reps they've seen practice throughout the whole way.
Yeah, they've got, look, you've got a pretty good sense of, who they are, and I think, it's been a pretty close battle.
J.J. McCarthy's second drive in his Vikings career was picked off by Jack Jones on the last one. He's got an open man, Christian Jackson, third-year pro out of Syracuse, and he brings it into Raiders territory at the 48-yard line.
Top of Devonshire.
Right on top of him, right from the start here. Oh, that's kind of unfair.
A little confusion.
Yeah.
Well, a pair of rookies were right there. MJ Devonshire, 7th-round pick out of Pittsburgh. He's number 26. And then Camryon Richardson, the 4th-round pick out of Mississippi State. Long, he's fast. And they are both on the field here for the Raiders defense in the second quarter. Rest set it down. Wanwu burst through the hole. Wanwu. And the Vikings have a 40-yard.
Really bad angle by the safety, Grant.
Packer got blocked right in the line of scrimmage.
But the safety's got to make that play, Matt. James Grant had an opportunity to come downhill. You're going to see him back here.
Yeah, he's right here. He jumped inside. He should have gotten to the outside, forced everything back inside, then the safety kicked him down.
He's got to make that tackle.
Dene Wanwu only had 5 carries last year for the Vikings. He is a former Pro Bowler as a return specialist. He took that one 48 yards, and that kick is up and through for the rookie Will Reichert out of Alabama, who takes over this year. 3 plays, 76 yards. Been a lot of offense here in this first preseason game of the year.
Bring that energy. Let's go. Sack! 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 Good job, Malk. Pass! Okay, Matt. Stand up. Go!
He dialed up the deep balls when I get off the field. That's crazy.
I just threw one.
Who?
Kobe.
Kobe? Y'all set a triple team on my ass.
Exactly.
And I still almost got home.
He's always talking and mic'd up with Max Crosby, brought to you by Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, the official soft drink of the Las Vegas Raiders. He did play the opening series for the defense, was not on the field there as the Raiders backups gave up a 48-yard touchdown run to Kene Nwangwu.
Yeah, you gotta watch Masterson. He's got to get out here. Safety, he's got to force this more. Masterson's got to get to the top side. Then we have a safety sitting back here someplace, and he's got to be
here.
there.
He comes.
Yeah, here he comes.
And that's a poor angle. You've got to make that tackle at the 30-yard line.
Yep.
Now, they did not, so now the first chance for the Raiders special teams to receive the new dynamic kickoff. Amir Abdullah is going to field it in the end zone, and he's coming out. Gets a block from Turner, and he takes it out past the 25. Out to the 26-yard line. You know, again, it's preseason. It's the first time anyone is seeing this live in the NFL. But we haven't really seen any dynamic kickoffs taken back for touchdowns.
The other interesting thing is if you're a returner, you're almost on an island because once they get past that initial line, you don't have that second line, that wedge to help you out. You know, so you have the other returner that can go up there and take one of them. But I think it's going to be very interesting. I think there's going to be some strategy involved. I don't think we're going to see a lot of it in the preseason.
Well, they're calling it, I'm just going to call it the kickoff because I haven't seen anything dynamic yet.
Now, Gardner Minshew was dynamic on his first drive. He's back on the field again with a toss to Madison. He bounced off a couple of defenders and then brought down by Bobby McCain, the veteran safety in his 10th year.
This running back room has been extremely competitive. We saw Zamir White, Alexander Madison, Amir Abdullah, Dylan Laube. He's got a chance to, I think, make an impact not only in terms of the running game, but in the kicking game. He's a really good special teams player, so a lot of competition at the running back position.
Well, we haven't seen Laube on offense yet, but he has gotten a lot of reps in camp with the first and second team offense. It's in a nice pocket, and he rolls out. Pumps, and he dumps it short of Madison.
Good coverage. They got good coverage because they've defined themselves, and once they start to define, you can hop on top of that thing and take it away, which is exactly what they did. You're going to see he's going to go with a little bit of play action, and right now they're defined. So he's got nothing. You could have seen him a little early, could have made a throw underneath there to Madison, but sets up a third down.
And you want to see the Raiders in third downs, too, because if you're judging the whole aspect of this, you need this. He picked up one with his legs.
Man.
It's Harrison Bryant who went in motion. Tight end they brought in from Cleveland.
Too much time.
Yep.
Delay of game by the offense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Well, that'll back it up to a 3rd and 11.
Got to be smart here if you're Gardner Minshew. You just can't have a negative play. No sack or no turnover. Trust the protection, set your feet, make a good throw.
You got Turner and the undrafted rookie Ramel Keaton to the top of the screen. He's going the other way. Looking Trey Tucker. Ooh. And he makes the grab over his shoulder.
I can't believe they went man there. They went man under too deep and stayed with it the whole time.
Really nice.
Gardner saw it the whole way. He got on top of the coverage, Turner, and the ball, that's a great throw. I mean, it's a great catch.
This is a really nice adjustment to the football.
Oh, yeah.
You talk a lot about it, Matt. Speed kills. Trey Tucker has what I would refer to as rare and unusual straight line speed.
And he twisted his body for a gain of 44 yards. Hand off to Amir Abdullah, who is wearing a different number this year as well. Last year 22, this year number 8. But look at, that's the second part of that. Rich, his entire head was facing the other direction before that.
And the good receivers have the ability to adjust.
Yeah, always did. It's fun watching those guys. Balls in the air, and they just...
Some guys struggle with it, Matt.
Yeah,
some guys have a difficult time turning and twisting and locating the ball. But Trey Tucker made it look very easy.
Yep.
You throw his speed with Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers and the tight ends, and again, this team is not lacking for weapons. Minshew on the rollout. Whoa!
He didn't want to go there.
Oh, Bryant was laid out by McCain, and he is still down on the field.
There were two receivers in the same spot. You see that, Rich?
Yeah.
And Rich, who's the first one over there? That's Gardner Minshew, who raced down to check on his teammate.
He should be the first one over there. This is a poor decision by the quarterback. You have to see out in front of the throw. You cannot take your tight end into a situation where he's going to get the head-on collision. I mean, Brian, he's not looking out in front. And look, you can see the Viking defender come in there and saw him in half. That one will leave a mark.
No, it was not helmet to helmet, so they are checking out Harrison Bryant, the fifth-year pro out of FAU.
And Gardner Minshew at times has a tendency to want to leave the pocket early. And I think that last snap was an example of that. You want to be able to trust the protection. You want to be able to step up in that A and B gap. And as I mentioned, he's only 6'1". Sometimes he has a tendency to get out on the edge because obviously the vision's better for a smaller quarterback.
Sets up another third down. The Raiders here in the first preseason game of 4 of 5 on third down. Open man over the middle. It's another tight end, Cole Fotheringham, who takes it inside the red zone for a Raiders first down.
Nice job by Fotheringham. Was able to catch that in a little bit of traffic right there, but the ball was right where it needed to be.
You know where I think that the Raiders are going to be so much better this year on offense? It's their tight end usage. You got an offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy, who comes over from the Bears. He spent time with the Packers. He understands the importance of attacking in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And right now, the Raiders have 3 or 4 really talented tight ends. We know about Mayer and Bowers, but this is a really good group of tight ends that I think are going to be very involved in the passing game.
We're going to see him a lot, too. Minshew out into the flat. Abdullah gets away from the first defender, and out of the backfield, he's got first and goal for the Raiders.
Nice job getting rid of the ball quick. Beat the coverage there. I like the way Luke Getsky's been calling this game.
I like the way the offensive line's been playing, too, Matt.
Right, exactly.
You know, we haven't talked much about this offensive line, but a lot of effort's gone into addressing that group as well. Good look at Luke Getsy.
They don't have 2 of them in there.
Yep, Colton Miller on the pup. The Ricky Jackson, Powers Johnson has been there as well. The handoff up the middle, and it'll bring up second down and goal. Zamir White with the power run as they take it inside the 3. And again, it's an offensive line. It's shifted, right? The right side from last year. Greg Van Roten and Jermaine Illuminor both now with the New York Giants. It has been a battle at right tackle between Thayer Mumford and DJ Glaze, the third-round pick out of Maryland, but they're happy with both of those guys.
Yeah, I think the big thing is the continuity, right? We love to have 5 of them play all 17 games, and that's been a little bit of an issue over the years for the Raiders, whether it's injuries or inconsistency with that group up front.
Mumford has moved from right tackle where he started to left tackle here on this drive. Zamir White bursts his way into the end zone.
You like to see that right there. That's just offensive line 1. They won the battle up front. That was an easy walk-in.
Well, it has been a battle in camp by both quarterbacks to lead the offense, but that is 3 drives for the Raiders, and they got points on all 3.
Nice job coming off the ball and staying on top of their blocks. Really well done. Got to that second level, and not much was there.
Really enjoyed our visit last night with Zamir White. Talked about being more patient, being better in the passing game, and being more of a vocal leader with this Raider team in 2024.
Nice snap, brought down, kick is up and good. So the Raiders have had a 15-play drive. They have had a 10-play drive. And the offense so far in the preseason has been very impressive here in Minnesota. Christian Wilkins, one of the big offseason acquisitions in the NFL. Had a massive year last with the Dolphins, 9 sacks through the middle. He did start this game for this defense as all the starters began this game. And you add him to Max Crosby, and you think about what the defensive line was last year, and you salivate for Antonio Pierce, what they could be up front.
Those 2 right there, they're gonna cause a lot of trouble for teams this year.
That was a squib pick, and again, you hear the whistles because that's different. The ball did not make it to the 20-yard line, so it is treated like a ball is kicked out of bounds, and the Vikings will start at the 40. Again, it is called the landing zone in this new NFL dynamic kick. The goal line out to the 20. And anything that does not make it to the 20, even if the Vikings were to catch it outside the 20, it is blown dead and brought out to the 40-yard line. So a lot of things to get used to on the kickoff. Raiders defense gave up a 48-yard play on the last one, but had some nice plays in the first couple of drives.
Yeah, they got caught. You know, backer got out of place and then a bad angle by the safety. That stuff happens. So what you're really looking for is consistency on your defense. And so they've been relatively consistent here in this first half.
J.J. McCarthy getting a third drive, and he sidearms it well over the head of his intended receiver, Trent Sherfield.
Nice job by Tyree Wilson. Again, these ends are doing a good job getting up the field on the boots and nakeds and making it really difficult on the quarterbacks. Just look at this angle, man. This is, as a quarterback, that's not what I want. I want him to come flat so I can get the edge.
Right.
You force the quarterback to pull up and make a throw before he's ready. Nice job by Tyree Wilson.
Question around last year's number 7 overall pick. What type of incremental increase can go from year 1 to year 2?
I want to see that kid cut it loose, Jason. You know, he wasn't healthy early last season. We saw him in training camp. He was missing practices. I don't know that he was in football shape, so it took him a while to get going. Just 29 tackles and 3.5 sacks. Matt and I have talked about it. This guy's got a lot of talent. He's a big, strong dude that can impact the running game and the pass rush, but he's got to cut it loose.
Yeah, he's long. That's the thing. He's fit. I mean, he's got really nice long arms. I'd like to see him just get off the ball fast. Just start coming off the ball quick as you can.
On 3rd and 5, they got pressure. McCarthy got away with his legs, picks up the first down. Right up the middle, and McCarthy had to pull it down, and he took off for a first down.
I think you're going to see a lot of McCarthy this year up here in Minnesota. I like his game. I thought University of Michigan, I think he made a huge difference for them. I think he sees the field pretty good. He's learning his stuff right now, but he's got a good sense of the position.
Yeah, he went 27-1 in his career as the starter for the Wolverines. Back to pass, and that was a dart down to the 24-yard line to Tristan Jackson. That was put right between Jaden Grant and the rookie DeCamerion Richardson.
That's just a nice throw. Nice route, nice throw. Had the time to be able to do it. You got to get pressure on him. This time, not there.
And Rich, if you go back to the draft, when people talked about J.J. McCarthy, they asked about the system. Right? Michigan runs the ball so much. Jim Harbaugh's system in college, not a 3,000-yard passer, which you see all the time in college football. Handoff to Wanwu, and that's broken up in the backfield nicely by both Tyree Wilson and Nesta Jade Silvera.
I studied every throw he made last year, and in fairness, there are games where they had big leads in the second half. I think his worst game of the season was against Ball State. He got antsy down in the red zone. It was one of those games where he probably wasn't going to play more than a half. He threw a couple picks. But, you look at some of the big games. Look at what he did in the postseason and how well he played in the championship game. He made a lot of big throws from the pocket.
And that drive against Alabama when they were down a touchdown in the Rose Bowl. Wanwu again, and that is a big-time hit. Amari Burney, the second-year linebacker out of Florida, making the stick at the line of scrimmage.
That's nice. Nice read by him, able to get out into the flow. And then when he opens and gets exposed, he makes a hit. Right, boom, right there. Well done.
Well, there's a competition, not for the starting linebacker spots. Robert Spillane, Divine Diablo, been with the starting defense here this year, just like last year. But there's that spot there. Who are those backup linebackers? Tommy Eichenberg, rookie out of Ohio State, not playing today. But Luke Masterson, Amari Burney, part of that group as well. McCarthy out of the pocket again, is taken off. And DeCamerion Richardson kept his ground to bring him down inbounds, which will bring us to the 2-minute warning. And a 4th down coming up for the Vikings. Antonio Pierce, his defense has given up a lot of yards, but they've also made some big-time plays. And the offense has been pretty special so far here in the opener. So coming out of the 2-minute warning, Raiders leading the Vikings 17-7. Minnesota lining up for a 36-yard field goal. Gardner Minshew has led a couple of touchdown drives. Big-time throws through the air, which brings us to today's thrilling moment, brought to you by Yamava. Experience world-class gaming at Yamava's Resort and Casino at San Manuel. Must be 21 or over to enter. Please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER. These two have a great history. Go back to Super Bowl 11 in the Rose Bowl. Freddie Bolitnikoff took him down. Pete Banaszak powered it in. Pretty one-sided Super Bowl and a 32-14 win. The Raiders' first of 3 Super Bowls. Matt, you were a part of the second 2 of those 3.
Yeah, Coach Madden. That was Coach Madden's Super Bowl, 76. Yep, that great team there. And a lot of those guys, 4 years later, we won it again. Freddie B wasn't there then, but he's a piece of work, I'll tell you.
The MVP in that Super Bowl.
Phelan Sanford racing down the field off the blocked field goal for the Raiders special teams.
Now, Phelan Sanford was a walk-on at Nebraska and was known for special teams. He didn't block it, but he took advantage. That looked like it nested. Jade Silvera got his hand up there to block it.
Oh, good push up inside. Jeez.
Yeah. How about the awareness to catch that out of the air, and Gardner Minshew fired up on that sideline.
Great field position.
Talk about trying to make an impact on special teams.
A lot of times when you get a sudden change like this, the play call will call a shot play down the field. Let's see what Luke Getsy decides to do here.
It's Gardner Minshew who's still on the field. O'Connell had the opening drive. They marched 80 yards, field goal, and Minshew has been on the field since an opening 1. To your point, you wanted to see a 2-minute drill, Rich. You said that about 15 minutes ago, and you're going to get that opportunity with short field position.
Yeah, they got plenty of time. And, I'm excited to see what Luke Getsy's offense looks like this year. Antonio Pierce had the assistant coach be a part of that interview process. I think what stood out was his passion and the fact that he had a bit of chip on his shoulder based on what happened with the Bears. And, of course, that's what got AP's attention.
Pressure off the edge. Minshew dumps it towards the sideline. He did have Abdullah in the area, so no intentional grounding. Might have been outside the pocket anyway. Jonah Williams had the pressure.
He likes to escape to his right.
I'd love to see him step up there,
yeah,
Matt,
me too. Get somebody who starts to try to escape the same way all the time. I know which way I'm coming. We're going to bring people from that side.
Third down and 8 for the Raiders. 5 of 6 on third down here in the opening half of the preseason. Vikings bring an extra man. Trying to set up the screen, but it was knocked down at the line.
Richard's right. It was set up nice. He had 2 on 2. And the back with the ball in his hand, and he's getting a first down.
That could have been out the gate.
Levi Drake Rodriguez got his hand up in the air to knock that down because you had Jordan Meredith and Parham in front of Abdullah. Now off the sudden change, the Raiders will have to settle for a long field goal attempt for Daniel Carlson. And a timeout taken. They did not have 11 men on the field. They were rushing an extra man, so Antonio Pierce will take a timeout.
See a lot of that in the preseason with a lot of young players playing in the kicking game for the first time. You mentioned how good Daniel Carlson was, Jason. His brother is fighting for a job in Green Bay. He's down at Packers training camp the other day, checking out the Packers for NFL radio, and they've got a kicking battle. It's a great situation to have if you're the Raiders. You've got a really good kicker in Daniel Carlson and a really good punter in A.J. Cole.
Now, every week throughout the regular season, the Las Vegas Raiders, in partnership with Intermountain Health, will proudly recognize local youth football players made an impact on their community. Stay tuned for September 22nd, where we'll recognize our first Intermountain Health Player of the Week. So a 55-yard attempt for Carlson.
Chip shot.
Yeah, 2 years ago, NFL record for 50 yards made in a season. Last year he only attempted 3.
56.
Well, 55, 56. Either way, he bangs it through.
He's got so much leg. There's so much left in there. That's like a sandwich for him.
Oh, no.
It's like a pitching wedge.
That's not a sport. Jeez, how many times have we had this conversation?
I'm just trying to tell you, the guy's got range.
Oh, he does get that.
Matt Millen will explain pickleball on the other side, too. Well, for every Raiders first down at Allegiant Stadium this year, America First Credit Union will be donating $100 to a local charity. Raiders so far here in this opening half. Luke Getsy's debut as the offensive coordinator, 231 yards of offense. Aiden O'Connell began the game as the starter, put together a lengthy drive. Gardner Minshew has been on the field for the through ensuing drives. Carlson's last kickoff did not get to the landing zone. This one does, and it bounces for the Vikings and Myles Gaskin out on the return, and Alex Bachman is down there to make the tackle at the 22-yard line.
It's an interesting way to kick it. You'll see a lot of that this year. Get it on the ground. You can kind of sputter back there. Get it in that safe zone that they have, or landing zone, or whatever zone that is.
You got a lot of zones to run.
There's a lot of zones.
It's not just zone read now. You got setup zone, landing zone, end zone, out of the end zone, O zone, air zone. We're up in the O zone up here, by the way.
Wow,
It is big here in U.S.
Don't
Bank
stop
Stadium.
bleeding yet, Rich?
No, I'm good.
No,
Now, just like the Raiders, Vikings with a QB competition, too. Sam Darnold had the opening drive. It's been J.J. McCarthy ever since, and a nice break on the ball. Jaden Grant, his first year out of Oregon State, hopped the route and knocked it away.
He had eyes on that right from the start. McCarthy was looking at him the whole way, and he just read his keys.
Well, that was
done.
N'Keal Harry. Remember, he's a first-round former pick of the Patriots as a receiver. But now in his 6th year in the league, he's shifting to tight end as they're trying to revamp his career. Jim McCarthy is 4 of 8 for 68 yards and a pick. Sets up the screen. Wanwu gets to the outside. And Grant with a nice job to force him into the arms of Masterson. And the Vikings elect to take a timeout, their first of the half. No, check that. That is Antonio Pierce taking the timeout, not Kevin O'Connell. So the Raiders will be down to 1. The Vikings still have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. But again, he wants to get his offense back on the field one more time.
Yeah, I would too. We're going to get him out there, let him get a shot at running a pretty quick clock. So
I really enjoyed our visit with AP last night. I mean, he clearly has a vision for what he wants this football team to look like. And I think the culture and the environment, the competitiveness, I think that's the one thing when you look at what Tom Telesco and Antonio Pierce have done with this football team. There is really solid competition at every position on this roster.
You know what impressed me? I think people don't know the maturity level that Antonio Pierce has. And he's surrounded himself with some good people, too.
On 3rd and 5, McCarthy flushed out of the pocket. He's got Wanwu trying to get the first down, and he can't get there. M.J. Devonshire, the rookie out of Pittsburgh, stopped him a yard short. And now Antonio Pierce takes his final timeout. And, Matt, you were just alluding to the people that Antonio Pierce has surrounded himself with. Nice tackle there by the 7th-round pick. But you talk about Marvin Lewis, right? An associate head coach.
Another mature, steady guy.
Tom Coughlin, an advisor who he played for the 2 Super Bowls with the Giants. Joe Philbin, senior offensive assistant. But, one of the things that Antonio Pierce told us yesterday, Matt, was I don't want them to tell me what I'm doing wrong after the game. Right. I want them to tell me what I'm doing wrong leading up to the game.
That's it, and that's impressive, right? So a lot of guys don't want to know anything about what they're doing wrong. But AP, he's taking it on. He wants to be a great coach. He wants this team to do well, and you can see it with the people who he's surrounding with. And Marvin right there.
I think
it's a good man right there.
I think it shows real maturity and intelligence on his part. He's not afraid to ask for help. Too many coaches aren't willing to seek another opinion and guidance from someone else in the profession. You look at Marvin Lewis, 27 years in the NFL. You look at Tom Coughlin, 31 years. Joe Philbin.
Trey Tucker with a nice return, but the Raiders with some good field position. Takes it out to the 35-yard line, a 23-yard punt return. So with 26 seconds to go, no timeouts remaining, gives the Raiders an opportunity to add some more here before halftime.
Took a shot down the field and your kicker Daniel Carlson another chance.
Well, he just hit from 56. Matt was right on the official score on that field goal attempt. Minshew 5 of 10 here in this half, 114 yards. Officially, this will be his 4th drive of the opening half.
You get about 22 yards here to Ian Carlson's range.
And again, no timeouts. Good protection, dumps it short. DJ Turner fights his way, and he does get out of bounds. He carried Theo Jackson, and he had enough momentum forward to keep that clock from moving.
Good awareness. You don't see that all the time.
Turner had a 20-yard touchdown grab from Gardner Minshew earlier in the half that put the Raiders up 10-0.
Second down and 7.
Trey Tucker had a 44-yard grab as well on a deep ball from Gardner Minshew. 19 seconds to go in the half on a 2nd and 7. And he throws that out of bounds. Nobody was open, had to get rid of it quickly.
Not a bad play. Just throw it away.
Said the intended receiver playing coverage.
But Rich, ideally you said it's heading into this broadcast. Yeah, every team wants to know who their quarterback is going into preseason. That's not the Raiders situation. How would you assess so far the quarterback position in this first half?
I think I'm pleased with the performance of both of them. I think Aiden O'Connell came out, looked really sharp, took care of the football, made some big throws on 3rd down. I think Gardner Minshew, we see who he is. You know, his ability to kind of manufacture some offense, slide around, be slippery back there in the pocket. And as I said, he plays with a lot of confidence.
And he hands off to Amir Abdullah.
That'll be it.
And unless Kevin O'Connell wants to take a timeout, he does not. That will bring this first half to a conclusion. But from the offensive standpoint, that has been the question mark all throughout camp. Who would be the quarterback? How would this offense do? Now, the answer to that question is they would do impressive. They had a very solid first half of preseason football. And as they race off, we are waiting to chat with head coach Antonio Pierce, who's putting on the headset as we speak. He's got it on. Coach, obviously everyone talking about the quarterback competition. A lot of yards and solid drives from both guys in this first half.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job of making those chunk plays that we really want to emphasize. Good job taking care of the football. Pretty good operation here in the 2-minute drill as well. Good first half.
AP, I was just wondering if you wanted to maybe have more reps for Aiden in the first half than you got. And you never can tell, right?
Right, you can't tell. We get one drive. I mean, hell of a drive, though, right? We're backed up, and we get all the way down there. We're in a situation where we're thinking about going for it on 4th down and give them another opportunity. We take a sack there, and at that point, you know, it's going to be 2nd quarter, and that's what we stick to. So we got next week.
Last one for me, AP. You talked about battle in the trenches. You got to be pleased with what you've seen up front from the big guys.
Offensively, defensively, that's not good enough. We get up too many yards. We had a long touchdown run. We got to do a better job up front.
Thank you so much for the time, Coach.
Thank you.
Antonio Pierce. They gave up the 48-yard touchdown run, but nothing else in terms of points for the Silver and Black. The first of 3 preseason games. Well, pretty much all the starters, and the Raiders have a 13-point lead at the half.
In the quiet whispers of opposition, a storm brews. Brace yourselves.
We're going to predicate this organization on class, pride, and poise.
All right, everyone, it's time. And we're live in 3, 2, 1.
autumn wind is a pirate, blustering in from sea. With a rollicking song, he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. His face is weather-beaten. He wears a hooded sash, with a silver hat about his head, and a bristling black mustache. He growls as he storms the country, a villain big and bold. And the trees all shake and quiver and quake as he robs them of their gold. The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun.
They'll knock you round and upside down.
And he'll laugh when he's conquered and won.
Raider Nation, stand up. Appreciate it, man. Welcome to training camp. We're about to have fun in this. We're going to do it our way. We're going to do it together. It's a really tight-knit group. You can see it's hot, it's warm. There's a lot of things to do. But when we get on that grass, man, we got to go. We got to go. I appreciate everybody's hard work, man. It is outstanding. What you guys are doing, it's real. It ain't, we're not forcing you. You guys want it, man. And you're willing to do whatever it takes. But now we just got to go do it.
Welcome in. It is Raiders training camp. All the Raiders out there getting ready for their first day of practices.
Welcome to Southern California. Bonding, competition, physicality, creating the Raider identity. There's nothing slow about what we're doing. We're in the field running.
Hey! Good. Put it all together.
Hey, you already know what time it is. Hey, bring it up tight. Bring it up tight. Hey, let's go. Hey, this is the start of everything, man. Be detailed and then fly around half ball. Let's get it.
Him being ranked the 28th coach, I feel like they was disrespecting, me, the team, him. I don't like that. I set a fire under me. We gonna show everybody.
Whoa! I know you guys, I've done a good job coaching you guys now. All right, here we go.
We got one-way tickets to Flavortown.
Flavortown, baby. Woo! Let's go.
I feel honored to be here at Flavortown. It's crazy. It looks so good.
What are you doing, guys?
Trying to get it done. Trying to get people fed here in a minute.
Watching us, I watch you there, chef. Okay.
I got you, bro. Yeah, I got you.
One by one.
Raiders leading the Vikings 20-7 here at the half. Here at Minnesota, an impressive opening preseason half for the Silver and Black to try and figure out what they're going to have as we take a look at the halftime stats brought to you by Yamava. Experience world-class gaming at Yamava Resort and Casino at San Manuel. Must be 21 or over and enter. Please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER. 183 yards through the air. Aiden O'Connell had 76 of those on the opening drive. The rest of the half was Gardner Minshew Raiders hit 5 of their first 6 third downs, but the quarterback competition is headline of this team coming into this game. It started with Aiden O'Connell on an 85-yard drive.
Yeah, and I think if you're Antonio Pierce and the coaching staff, you got to be really pleased with what you saw from both quarterbacks. Aiden O'Connell, he came out, he looked sharp, put the team right down the field. Gardner Minshew came in and moved around, made some plays with his feet. His ability to get out on the edge, anticipation, and accuracy throwing the football on the move. I love the fact that they're taking some shots down the field. A great throw here to Tucker. I thought both quarterbacks looked prepared and sharp in the first half.
And again, fans are going to look at this and they're going to compare stats and all of that stuff. But as we were talking about during the break, too early. It's just this comparison from a numbers standpoint to figure out what you're going to look at.
For the numbers. So you just have to get a feel. Like when you're watching and you get a feel for what kind of quarterbacks they are. You can see one's a pocket passer and one is a guy who likes to float to his right and get out a lot of times. And I think sometimes that helps and sometimes that doesn't help. So
Raiders set to receive this third quarter kickoff. That is Tyreek McAllister. Dangerous return man, formerly of the Broncos, and he's drilled shy of the 25-yard line. And we saw Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell both with the earpieces in, so barring something completely unexpected, their afternoons are done there with the first half. Rich Gannon, MATTMILLEN, Jason Horowitz, happy to have you with us. So Anthony Brown Jr. takes over, a former undrafted free agent with the Ravens. Had a start in 2022 when Lamar Jackson was hurt. Threw for 300 yards in that game. And then last year was cut before week 1 in Baltimore, and now trying to get that maybe final roster spot for a quarterback spot here for the Raiders.
I want to see Laube.
Now he is in the game. The 6th-round pick out of New Hampshire's in the backfield. Trying to block instead. Brown is thrown down to the turf. Bo Richter, the rookie out of Air Force, burst through for a sack.
So there was nothing up front there. He got through fast.
Now he got around the rookie DJ Glaze, who, and again, DJ Glaze taking a lot of snaps at right tackle this year in camp. Played the first half at right tackle, but here to start the third quarter, he's over at left tackle.
He played both right tackle and left tackle at Maryland. Very good length and athleticism, but the speed of the game at this level is a whole lot different.
Yeah, just a tad.
Brown pumps and pumps and pumps, and McAllister was at his feet. It's incomplete. There is a flag down.
You know, Anthony Brown is an interesting prospect. Spent a lot of time free agent in 2022, a lot of time with the Ravens on and off that practice squad, and talk about a guy that can create and manufacture some offense on his own. He's got some quickness.
He began his career at Boston College, was in Chestnut Hill for 4 years, spent his final 2 seasons at Oregon. He is a guy who can take off. Did have a 700-yard rushing season in his final years of start. There's a long conversation about this flag. And we are not done with that conversation yet.
Keep in mind, you get the officials with some.
Offense number 82. Penalty flag. Third down.
And as Ramel Keaton tried to block a little bit before the ball.
Preseasons for the officials too. You know, you have some changes to some of these crews, and you got some young guys, young men and women, and some of these crews officiating for the very first time.
Well, you also have some new video replay assists as well, where certain flags, certain plays can be overturned if they have clear evidence on a replay. On 3rd and 19, Dylan Laube got the handoff, and his first carry for the Raiders all the way out to the 27-yard line. So he picks up 13, but it's well shy of the marker, and the Raiders will have to punt for the first time here this afternoon.
I'm excited to see Laube. I want to see him get more opportunities. He was an All-American, honored twice as a returner and all-purpose player. At New Hampshire, was a Walter Payton Award finalist last season.
He's been impressive in camp. Got good quickness, catches the ball out of the backfield real well. The thing that impresses you, though, is he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's a pretty sharp kid.
Staff has talked about Laube with a chip on his shoulder, but certainly a guy who can pretty much do everything on the field. A.J. Cole coming off his 3rd Pro Bowl. Kicking to Thayer Thomas, who fields it and gets out near the 40-yard line. Kenai Mauga made the stop, which is where the Vikings will take over here in the 3rd quarter in Minneapolis. Davante Adams knew Luke Getsy from his days in Green Bay. Continuity here in Las Vegas as well. And Adams here in the preseason on his former and now current coach.
You know, now that's kind of what this whole part is for right now, figuring out exactly the way we're going to attack teams with the offense that we have, and me being real familiar with what we're doing, it obviously helps. And half of the tape that we watch is my tape, so we watching me run certain routes.
Weird?
I mean, not really.
Here's how you get it done.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it is from 21 and 20.
Yeah.
Which
the MVP seasons.
Yeah. So we had some good stuff we put on tape there. So just finding out what the quarterback is comfortable with. Seeing how the receivers run certain routes, and then figuring out who you're going to put. We do different motions and all those things. So that's what training camp's for.
Well, Rich, we've seen Luke Getsy, at least with the Raiders, calling it now for a half. What impressions stand out to you so far?
Well, I just think that you look at his background, with the Packers mostly, with Mike McCarthy and then Matt LaFleur. When he first came into the league, Mike McCarthy stuck him in that quarterback room with Tom Clements and Alex Van Pelt. Aaron Rodgers had the MVP-type season. He learned a lot about the fundamentals of coaching that position. He played that position at Pitt and at Akron. He went to Chicago. Very difficult set of circumstances. He had a young Justin Fields, struggled functioning from the pocket, could make plays outside the pocket, but the passing game was a real problem. Now he's come here. He brings a system of football that has proven the test of time. He's got to find the quarterback to run it.
Running play to Myles Gaskin, trying to cut to the outside. And that is brought down by the safety, Chris Smith, out of Georgia.
The one thing that impresses me with Luke is he knows what he wants. He's trying to find it or develop it. He thinks he has the pieces here to be able to do all that. And so I think that's the big plus for the Raiders right now. He thinks he has the guys who are capable to do what they want to do. And so I think when you have that kind of command of the offense, you go a long way.
You got a good left tackle, good center. I think that there's other pieces to that offensive line that are falling into place. We talked about the tight end position at great length, good receiving core, talented backfield. And we just need to decide on a quarterback and roll with it. And I just think that that's going to be so important. Stability, consistency, production at that position week in and week out.
And no Davante Adams today. Davante and his wife Devin welcomed their 3rd child earlier this week. Baby boy named Dryson. So congratulations to the Adams family.
This offense looks a lot different when you have him on the field. That creates a lot more issues for the secondary.
3rd and 9. McCarthy delivers on time and on target. His tight end Nick Mew stepped in front of the rookie Trey Taylor, and it's a 1st down for the Vikings.
That was well done by McCarthy. Just stayed in the pocket, nice and patient, kept on his read, delivered a perfect ball. Well done. Sometimes you can play the best defense, and it just doesn't matter.
It's a great throw.
Yep.
Great throw and a great catch.
Now you're getting a lot of look at the 10th overall pick from the 2024 draft. And the excitement, you see a lot of number 9 jerseys all over the stadium. Had a good one for a while in Kirk Cousins. Sam Darnold played well in his only drive to start this game. McCarthy's going to load, taking the deep shot, open man. Touchdown, Minnesota. Oh, he delivered that on a dime to Christian Jackson for a 45-yard touchdown.
He went right by Chris Smith. 2 ships passed him tonight. That wasn't the best snap for Smith.
No, he got on top of him, and he's in his back pedal. He's running already. Oh, he hesitated in between.
Oh, actually, that was Devonshire. My bad.
Just got on top of him.
And he goes by Devonshire, and the safety, Smith, comes over late.
Yeah.
J.J. McCarthy's first NFL preseason touchdown is a deep one. So the Raiders have given up some big plays today. Antonio Pierce wasn't happy about that going to the locker room. Won't be happy about that one either. Beautiful downtown Minneapolis. Hey, just a couple of seconds away from the Twins ballpark yesterday. Raiders got here yesterday. Aiden O'Connell got the start this afternoon, went 7 of 9 in his one drive. Gardner Minshew had the rest of the first half. And those guys will watch the rest of the way. Bill Reichard to kick it away, and Laube waiting for it at the 5, and the rookie from New Hampshire getting ahead of steam. And he's brought down shy of the 20. There, Thomas got down there, started his wide receiver tandem, Lucky Jackson, to make the stop. Now that's where Anthony Brown will have his second drive. Was sacked on his first play. See if they can put together a lengthy drive. Remember, the first 3 drives of this ballgame, the Raiders went down the field, had multiple drives of 75 yards or more. The handoff to Laube, and he had no time before he was hit in the backfield by Theo Jackson.
Yeah, well, that's because he came with a blitz to the top side. Strong safety came untouched, and it was right there. Nice defensive call. You're going to see him. He's going to drop down fast. And so you have to be able to account for him, and they didn't. Tight end blocked down instead of going out right away, which
part of that responsibility, Matt, is on the quarterback. You have to see that. Yeah. We don't want to waste plays. We don't want to run a play, a stretch play, into an unblocked look.
Brown pulled it down, gets out the backside, and he lowers the shoulder into the linebacker Asamoah. Takes it out to the 22-yard line.
Yeah, Brown right there didn't trust himself. Wanted to make the throw, but he pumped it 3 times, and then he knew he was too late. Gonna see it and throw it.
It'll be 3rd down and 5 here for the silver and black. Well, you know, the other part, too, it's not just the Raiders defense that made a massive leap forward from 2022 to 2023. You know, last year the Vikings with Brian Flores as their defensive coordinator in his first year, they made a massive jump too from what they were in 2022.
Yeah, Flo's done a nice job with this defense, and
man under 2 deep.
They're down at 7, and they did not get the play off in time.
It's the 2nd time today for the Raiders.
Play the game. By the offense. 5-yard lead.
Once with Brown and once earlier with Minshew. The job as you break the huddle is to look at that 25-second clock. It has to be a sense of urgency. You can see the frustration from offensive coordinator Luke Getsy.
AP wasn't too pleased either.
And he went with the red Sharpie on whatever he wrote down on that note card. Red's never a good thing. Brown waited and sacked. Levi Drake Rodriguez got in there to make the play.
Held on to it too long. Going to make the decision quick. Same thing that happened earlier. You can see he's fine right here. Just middle of the field, and he had somebody to the right. Just make your decision quick. Easier said than done, though, isn't it, Rich?
It happens quick, Matt. You know, you have a couple mistakes, and you get a little stun inside, and you get a free rusher right up the gut. That was a good punt right there.
It was, trying to flip the field. Thomas backpedals all the way to the 33-yard line. And he's hit from behind, brought down by Sam Webb after a 5-yard punt return. Nice job by A.J. Cole on the special teams. Then Minnesota a little bit farther back. Are you or your little ones ready to dance with football's fabulous females? Classes are open to all ages and take place at the Raiderettes' very own studio in Henderson, Nevada. New members are eligible for a free first-time class. For more information, visit RaiderettesThestudio.com. Raiders leading the Vikings here midway through the 3rd quarter, 20-14 in the opening preseason game of the 3 on the slate. Dallas and San Francisco still to come up. And, you know, the overwhelming thought coming into this game was that the defense is ahead of the offense. But, you know, even the starters on defense gave them some big plays on the opening drive, and the Raiders have been gashed for some big plays.
Yeah, talking to Antonio Pierce last night, he really felt like the defense in terms of development, communication, way ahead of where the offense is. And keep in mind, this defense has been together for 3 years. This offense has a new coordinator, and they've been together for 6 months. So, different story here, certainly through the first 2.5 quarters. The offense has looked really sharp. Defense has given up some explosives.
McCarthy, the 10th overall pick, still on the field. Raiders starting defense had the entire first series. Many of those guys had the second series when they had an interception. Myles Gaskin carrying defenders for a 12-yard pickup. The 6th-year pro out of Washington with a strong run.
And so there's scheme, and there's teaching the scheme, and then there's playing the scheme. And so that last one, you know, it depends who's on the field. And so right now, you know, we don't have the best out there. So
a lot of
see some things.
You got some young guys playing for the first time.
Yep.
Some guys have their hands in the wrong place, and it doesn't take much to give up a big play.
A run to the same side for Gaskin. That time the hole closed up pretty quickly.
You know, when we talk about playing good defense, and Matt, you know this better than anybody, it starts with stopping the run. And, you know, Antonio Pierce has talked about that, you know, being more dominant on the early down so we can do what we like to do and what we do best, and that's get after the passer. But to me, you look at the Raiders' run defense last year, really kind of middle of the pack, 21st in run defense. That's an area where they have to be better this season.
McCarthy with an open receiver, Trent Sherfield. Amari Burney shoved him out of bounds, couple yards shy of the marker.
And so much of it's attitude, is it not?
Oh, no question. Yeah, and it's got to be.
And bullying people.
That's part of it. I mean, it sounds bad, but it's part of it. You just and you have to be physical. And for me, that's the way defense has to be played. You have to be physical up front. And your front seven, if you're not knocking people back, you got a problem.
You got to win those one-on-one matchups, right?
Yep.
Well, the Vikings have 121 yards on the ground here this afternoon. McCarthy knocked out of his hands from behind. The ball's on the turf, and it's a takeaway. Charles Snowden comes up with the fumble. I will have to see if his arm was going forward or not, but as of right now, it's a fumble recovery for the Raiders.
And they'll talk about it.
That was Ron Stone Jr., his dad, a former Raiders offensive lineman for a couple of years. He got off the edge and forced the fumble.
He stopped his motion, but his arm went through. He was trying to stop it because he's getting hit right there.
After replay review, the quarterback's arm was moving forward with control of the ball. It's an incomplete pass.
Yeah, definitely. Clearly, the arm was coming forward.
It was coming forward, but it slipped out of his hand. He didn't want to throw it.
It's a good thing it slipped out of his hand.
That was Snowden who had the recovery, but Ron Stone Jr., both those guys. Again, we talked about this earlier. The defensive line so much deeper than it was a year ago with the development of some of those players, the addition of Christian Wilkins, how well Adam Butler and John Jenkins played last year. Those guys on the team, it's everybody after that, and those are two guys trying to make it as edge rushers.
And they did a much better job getting at the quarterback last season. They boosted their sack total from 27 and 22 to 40 last season. You just need to find somebody other than Max Crosby and Malcolm Kuntz. Crosby's had 27 sacks the past season, including.
4th down for the Vikings. McCarthy delivers on a slant. Christian Jackson went to the turf to grab it. 1st down, Minnesota.
Boy, Christian Jackson is causing some problems for this Raiders secondary. Just runs a little slant pattern. A little too much cushion from Shepard.
The undrafted free agent out of Maryland who spent his first 3 years at Cincinnati playing opposite of Sauce Gardner early in his collegiate career. So they move the chains on 4th down. Vikings up to 335 yards in the game, 100 more than the Raiders. 1st and 10 for the rookie McCarthy.
All low.
He's got him wide open. Break down in the coverage. Touchdown, Sherfield. And J.J. McCarthy has his 2nd deep touchdown of the 3rd quarter.
They didn't even look at him. Ran right past him.
Well, Rich, you live here in Minnesota for much of the year, and I can't imagine how excited Minnesota fans are going to be this week about J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, look at this. I mean, they got fooled. And you just turn them loose right here. Right to the corner. I mean, just nobody there. I mean, this is just, Matt, you could make that throw.
No, I couldn't, but
there's just, you talk about being disciplined with your assignments, but also being disciplined with your eyes.
That's the biggest
thing. You
thing,
can't
Rich.
come downhill that fast on the run fake.
Oh, it's not that often you come into a preseason game where both teams are dealing with a quarterback battle, and it's not that often where both teams get all four quarterbacks to play well. But that has been the case today, Rich, for both Raiders with Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, and then the one drive for Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy has been pretty impressive.
Matt and I were just kidding during the break. The Raiders secondary is making J.J. McCarthy look like Fran Tarkenton. Oh my gosh. I mean, he's already thrown 2 touchdowns. He's got a quarterback rating close to 120. He's got a lot of time back there in the pocket.
45 and 35-yard touchdowns here in the third quarter. Nice return for McAllister, and he's out past the 35-yard line. Well, Matt, you said you weren't going to call it the NFL dynamic kickoff until you saw something dynamic. There's a little bit of action.
Almost there. It's almost there.
Watch him bounce it. It's a really nice job starting up inside, and you're going to see him bounce it out to the edge.
Run where your eyes take you.
Tyreek McAllister, a Division II player at Charleston in West Virginia, has been on the Broncos organization the last couple of years. He's a guy that in his career, more of a running back at over 2,600 rushing yards. Dylan Lowry getting the carry, and he had absolutely nowhere to go. Andre Carter, the second, in his second year out of Army, got in the backfield.
Got up the field, he beat the block.
It's tough when you don't block them.
Yeah, how about it?
Penetration. Penetration kills perimeter runs.
Well, again, the Raider Nation and the fans and everyone waiting to see the offense as you're going to see it during the regular season. But the staff wants the guys trying to make the roster to make some big plays, too. That has not happened here in the third quarter.
Yeah, what you're really looking for is consistency.
Anthony Brown steps up down the field with a nice pass. That's Jalen Guyton into Vikings territory. Down to the 45-yard line for a pickup of 24.
Nicely done. Got his eyes on him. He's able to just step into that throw and let it go. First thing that has to happen, though, you have to have protection, and then you have to run the good route. You can see he's clearing to the inside and then following behind. Well done.
Nice job by Guyton coming out of the break and throttling, finding that hole in the coverage.
Guyton was dealing with an injury early in camp. He's come back and made some plays. Last 4 years with the Chargers, Tom Telesco knows him well. Brown got out of the pocket, and he's into the waiting arms of a Viking again. Asamoah giving chase, James Lynch to the turf. Well, Matt, you were talking about it earlier. Anthony Brown's not trusting himself.
Yeah. He just has to be more patient, and he got a little bit spooked when the blitz came, and Lowry picked it up well. Now just, check yourself a little bit.
You got to know where your quick answer throws are. You have to have the tools in your toolbox to handle pressure.
Now, Minshew and O'Connell, 9-1, suffered a sack in the first half. That's the third of Brown. Lowry with a nice cut, and he's upended. Dwight McLaughlin, the rookie safety out of Arkansas, made the stick.
Yeah, but there's a flag.
That's going to come back. Yep. They've got a chop block.
Holding.
Offense, number 79. 10-yard penalty. 2-second down.
It's the backup center, Ben Brown, in his first year out of Ole Miss. Big 6'4", 315 pounds.
Nice cut, though. I want to see this kid play. Yeah, I'm not comparing him to Christian McCaffrey, but I just watched some of this guy's film at New Hampshire, and he can make some plays in space. And not just in terms of the running game. He's very good in the passing game.
Oh, I think that's
an excellent returner.
He's out in the passing game. The ball thrown over his shoulder.
Yeah, threw behind him.
Well, there's been a lot written about Dylan Lowby during the offseason and certainly during mini camps and training camp. And again, we saw when we were at practice last week at Costa Mesa, he was running with more of the starting offense, whether it was the ones or twos. He didn't get that chance this afternoon.
It makes a big difference when you're running behind the big boys up front and not a bunch of guys that haven't played a lot of football together. But the thing I like about him, he gives you position versatility. We just saw him swell up and take on a free blitzer. He's got good vision, he's got good patience, and he's a good little route runner.
Design run, didn't have a chance. And I said design run, but I'm not positive that it was for Richter, but he is in the backfield, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, that was going to be a quarterback draw. You can see it right from the start because Lowby was supposed to lead him through. See how he's going up inside? See the hole right there? Then DN came off the side and did a nice job with that.
A.J. Cole averaged over 50 yards a punt last year, and his net was over 45, the best in football. And you talk about a guy that can dramatically change field position. 34 kicks inside the 20. He's a difference maker.
He had a 59-yard punt on his last kick. This one, Thomas going to let go over his head, and he pins it inside the 10 in the corner. They will spot that at the 5. Wow. A massive punt of 56 yards, and he pinned it down.
You know, I was lucky. I had Shane Leckler. And when I would go out there and stall around midfield, Shane Leckler would come in and pin him down there inside the 5, Matt. And when we got backed up and we couldn't make a first down, Shane would go out there and kick it 75 yards. I'll tell you what, that is a great weapon to have in your side pocket.
I am very familiar.
By the way, there's games Shane Leckler never punted. If you're out there listening, Shane, I love you, brother. But there's games I would give you a hard time. I'd say, they paid you this week. You didn't even punt. Every time we had the ball, we scored. Come on.
Yeah, I was fortunate to have a guy named Ray Guy.
I know, he wasn't bad either.
Oh, my goodness.
My goodness.
Now, J.J. McCarthy's afternoon is done. Jaron Hall laid his receiver out. N'Keal Harry was hit hard by the rookie Trey Taylor. But again, we talked about A.J. Cole yesterday with Antonio Pierce because we were talking about the analytics and the aspect for him as someone who has to make in-game decisions, and that's something Antonio Pierce is learning about. He's like, I always want to go for it on 4th down. And then I remember, I got number 6. Why did I do that?
We can flip the field. You know, you're thinking about Ray Guy. You think about some of these stadiums, Matt, with these.
Oh my goodness.
With these replay screens
and the low hanging.
He hit him. He did. He would hit him.
So we did that, getting ready for the Super Bowl in 1980 down in New Orleans.
He hit it
in practice. He hit it 3 times. They made him raise it up. So they raised it up, and in the game, he kicked it inside the thing. It was unbelievable. Ray was a freak.
Yeah. It's great that he finally got recognized for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Not a lot of kickers or punters in the Hall of Fame. Jan Stenerud, Ray Guy. But he was certainly one of the best.
Well, and remember when A.J. Cole came to the Raiders in 2019, Johnny Townsend was supposed to be the punter.
That's right.
And A.J. Cole had a job set to be a finance guy. And he's like, hey, guys, I need a couple weeks off. He never went back.
He's made a name for himself.
That's good finances right there.
Gaskin can't get there. Nice tackle by Amari Burney. He's done that a couple of times here this afternoon.
Yeah, tightening things up defensively. This is good to see. Sure, AP had some choice words for the defense at halftime, Matt.
Yeah, because you hate to see when you're getting beat up front. This is a nice job. You're cutting through things, and Burney does a good job of holding on and making that tackle.
Set Vernon in front formation.
So that'll force the Vikings to punt. Just the second punt for Ryan Wright this afternoon. His first went for 57 yards.
Amir Abdullah back.
He's waiting for the opportunity.
Oh, he's going to have one. Nope.
That ball was shanked. Well, we'll see where they spot that, but about a 35-yard punt into the Raiders bench and right there at that marker at midfield. Well, you were talking about Dylan Lowby earlier, and he may or may not get the chance this regular season. We will see. But, you know, look, the last 5 years, Josh Jacobs had been a bell cow for this offense. He did not play the last 4 weeks. Zamir White, most of his 104 carries happened in that time frame. But it's going to be a different running group here for whoever the quarterback is this year.
Well, Josh Jacobs is legit. And wherever he goes, he's going to be legit. And it's hard to replace guys like that. And he's a workhorse. He got better as the game would go on every week. It was just fun to watch him.
Now with the Green Bay Packers, so it's Zamir White and Alexander Madison. The opportunity to take over. Laube trying to cut that to the outside, and not enough room. Nice job by Jay Ward to trip him up.
You know, as good as Josh Jacobs was for the Raiders, he only averaged 3.5 yards a carry last year, had a little over 800 yards. The Raiders struggled to run the ball consistently a year ago. They were 30th in rushing, averaged just a little over 90 yards a game. And Jason, that's got to change, right? And I think part of it is, you know, especially when you're trying to play with a young quarterback. If Aiden O'Connell winds up playing week 1, even if Gardner Minshew plays, you have to be able to control the line of scrimmage by running the football effectively on the early downs.
Brown brought the high snap down, and he's following the blockers. Anthony Brown with a nice run to pick up the first down, which may bring us to the end of the third quarter. But that is certainly going to be a big key for Luke Getsy, is make sure that this team can run the ball better than last year, right? Last year, remember, it was such a difficulty the first half of the year for this offense to get to 20 points.
There's a lot that goes into it. It's not just the running back. It's the quarterback getting us into the right play, the offensive line playing well together, the tight ends participating, and how about some wide receivers on the perimeter knocking some people down?
That'll be a first.
We head to the fourth. Anthony Brown and the guys trying to make a team, trying to make a name for themselves here in Minneapolis. Las Vegas Raiders football has been brought to you by Allegiant, the official airline of the Las Vegas Raiders. Low fares, non-stop flights. Book now only at Allegiant.com. Coors Light, choose chill. Official beer of Raider Nation. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Sports Water, the official water of the Las Vegas Raiders. Twitch, watch, discover, join in. And by Las Vegas. There's no better place to celebrate than the sports and entertainment capital of the world. Right here, Las Vegas. The Bowers family celebration on draft night 2024. The rookie out of Georgia, the 13th overall pick, had a couple of pretty impressive plays on the opening drive, and the Raider fans very excited to see what he can bring to the offense.
He's going to bring a lot to this offense. He's just got a great sense. He sees the field very well. He understands the passing game. That was a really good pick.
Anthony Brown on a tough toss to Sincere McCormick. Nice cutback to get into the secondary, and McCormick takes it down to the 19-yard line on an 18-yard run.
That's a really nice cutback on the inside. He got to the point to got to make a choice, and he did.
Some really blocking up front. You see him getting up on the second level. Yep. You see the tight ends in there, and a really nice cut. That really just good vision from McCormick and a good finish.
There were a lot of people who thought a couple of years ago that he might have made the roster, but he tore his ACL in May of 2022 as an undrafted free agent. Last year was behind a bunch of running backs for the Raiders trying to make it out of camp. But Sincere McCormick, back in 2021, nearly 1,500 yards rushing. The offensive player of the year twice at UTSA, and now in his third year here. And again, we were talking about the running back room. It's just a totally different room.
So competitive, though. You know, if you were to ask the Raider coaching staff right now who's going to line up week 1, I'm not so sure they know the answer.
Yeah.
Got a lot of competition there. Good, healthy competition for Luke Getsy and this offense.
McCormick stays on the field here, 2nd down and 6 early.
Oops.
In this fourth quarter, bad snap. Brown might have pulled out a little bit early, and he falls on top of it.
Quarterback center exchange. You know how it is. If you're the quarterback, you blame the center. If you're the center, you blame the quarterback. That's usually how it works. That's on both of them. I put that more on the quarterback, and here's why. If you look at the center, he's got to jump. He's got a tough block, and he's moving to his left. You've got to ride him a little bit as the quarterback.
Well, that center is Will Putnam, rookie out of Clemson.
You know, center can remind the quarterback, "Hey, stay with me here now. I've got to try and get a jump on this 3 technique."
On 3rd and 7, handoff in down to the 15, and McCormick is close to a first down.
We'll go for it here.
Got 2 yards shy, and you get to your point exactly. You think if you get 5-6 yards, just setting up that opportunity to go for it on 4th down.
And you know, that's good coaching. You know, Antonio Pierce turns to Luke Getsy and says, "Hey, you got 2 downs here, just so you know." So he's able to call a running play in that situation, knowing that he's got another shot for it on 4th and short.
you also put into play it's preseason versus regular season with 12 minutes to go.
Absolutely.
Would you go 23-21? Would you go for it?
And he knows we have to make a play. That's the key.
4th and 2. Brown on the rollout. Being chased from behind. That play gets out of there and picks up the first down. He got away from Asamoah, the safety, the linebacker, and he picked up the first down.
How he got through that tackle, I have no idea.
And the Vikings did a great job recognizing and covering that play. And this is just great individual effort by Anthony Brown.
And again, he talked about his ability with his legs. Certainly is an asset, and it's 1st and goal. McCormick trying to the left side, not a ton there. That'll bring up 2nd down for the Raiders offense. Well, the other part too, last year you come into the training camp and you think about the offensive line from a year ago, a lot of position battles, and certainly this year, battle going on at right tackle, but you brought in Andres Pete, and you brought in Cody Whitehair, so veterans with the injuries to Colt Miller and the 2nd-round pick, Jackson Powers Johnson, so not as many spots on the offensive line, at least expected. These guys still trying to get that chance too. High snap brought down, and McCormick still trying to keep the legs driving, and he got close to the goal line.
He got great balance right there. Didn't quit.
How about the message that Luke Gesty sent into this group? 9 straight rushes. Talk about the offensive line and their importance.
Watch him knock. That's really well done right there. McCormick did a great job using his hand, gained some extra yards.
They're going to run it
down to the 1.
They're going to run it 2 more times. If they don't get it here, they're going to run it again on 4th down. You watch. This is an attitude drive.
Well, now that didn't work out well because the Vikings knew it was coming too. James Lynch got back there and they drove McCormick back to the 5. You still going for it?
I think he kicked the field goal.
And
that's a big loss.
And they're going to kick the field goal.
Yeah, you're talking about, a 4th and 1 maybe, and now you lose almost 5 yards there. You lose 4 anyway.
Now Anthony Brown Jr. put together a 10-play drive. He picked up that big 4th down with his legs. So Carlson on to try his 3rd field goal of the game. This from 23 yards. The chippy is up and good. And with 9:43 to go, preseason week number 1, the Raiders back in front. Now the Raiders official YouTube page is your home for in-depth team coverage and exclusive player interviews with weekly show hosted by Amber Theo Harris, Eric Allen, James Jones, and JT the Brick. Plus you can catch the Emmy Award-winning docuseries Behind the Shield, which follows the Raiders all season long. Jason Horowitz, Rich Gannon, Matt Millen over here on the TV side of things here in Minneapolis, and those guys, along with my radio partner during the regular season, Lincoln Kennedy, they're right next to it. Look at this.
We don't get this opportunity to be next to our guys. This is kind of cool. We've got everybody here. Look at them all.
Yeah, now,
JT, EA, Link.
That is a group right there. Look at that group of 6. Amber Theo Harris does a phenomenal job with our studio show as well. Not with us here in Minneapolis. We had a lot of fun during the regular season too. Link likes to make fun of me a little bit, but
no, come on, not Link.
We will talk to you week 1 in Los Angeles, SoFi Stadium. Of course, we got 2 more preseason games to get to. We'll reconvene next week at Allegiant.
Another good test. The last 2 preseason games, good test against playoff teams from a season ago, the Cowboys and the 49ers.
That's right. Last year it was the final preseason game of the year, which was against the Cowboys in Dallas. Kickoff from Carlson in the landing zone. It was caught at the 2. A slip at the 25, and that is exactly where Dwayne McBride is brought down.
You know what's interesting? You look at Carlson. He can easily bang it through the end zone every time. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get these low penetrating kicks to land around the goal line.
And in the corner,
And
too.
in the corner.
Yeah.
So directional kicking, and for a guy like Daniel Carlson trying to take a little something off it.
Well, and a lot of teams have been practicing, and the Raiders did it too, with positional players on the kickoff, right? To have that extra tackler out there too, just in case whoever it is does break through that wall, which again now starts at the opponent's 40-yard line on the kickoff.
Another quarterback in there. I think it's Jaron Hall, who actually started a game for the Vikings last season.
Batted up in the air and almost intercepted. Marquand McCall doesn't realize it's an incompletion.
And if he had any kind of sense, it fell right in front of him.
Well, you know we love big men running. That is Jaron Hall, a 26-year-old in his second year out of BYU. Well, and Rich, you mentioned that he got the start. Remember, when Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles last year, they traded for Josh Dobbs, but it was Jaron Hall who came in and started that next week. But
he got hurt.
Dobbs, he got a concussion here in this building. He did throw 20 passes last year. Another guy who can use his legs, too. Second down. That's complete out past the 30.
Isn't it amazing how quickly things change in this business? I remember them acquiring Josh Dobbs, and he came in and did some good things for a couple games. They were talking about you can't buy a Josh Dobbs jersey here in Minnesota. They started producing Josh Dobbs jersey. He's no longer with the team.
No, he's now on the San Francisco 49ers.
Trying to make that team.
Yeah. Well, and remember when the Vikings came to Allegiant Stadium in the regular 3
Boy, was that a high-powered, that was an explosive game to watch. A lot of scoring in that one.
Dobbs got pulled in that game, and it was Nick Mullins, who we have not seen, but he's still on this Vikings roster, who came in and ushered the only points for that field goal. That was batted down at the line of scrimmage, too. Charles Snowden, all 6'7" of them, got his hands up in the air to bat that down and bring up fourth down.
A good push.
When you get blocked, get your hands up.
A really nice job. Look at that extension, Matt. Makes it a little more difficult on the quarterback to try and fit one in there.
Now, Charles Snowden was having a great last couple of years at Virginia a couple of years ago. Suffered some injuries towards the end of his career.
See if he can block a punt.
They just do have a blocked field goal earlier today. That punt by Ryan Wright, much better than his last one. Down to the 9-yard line. McAllister's got some room, trying to get upfield. And he ran the entire length of the field to run out of bounds into the Raiders sideline. Now, let's see if the Raiders can finish up with one last drive here in preseason game number 1 of 23-21 on the road. 3:21, Raiders have the lead. Aiden O'Connell started. Gardner Minshew played most of the first half. Both look good. As we get to our connection of the game, brought to you by Allegiant, the official airline of the Las Vegas Raiders. Low fares, nonstop flights, book now only at Allegiant.com. Gardner Minshew on a 44-yard hookup to Trey Tucker, which this offense, if they can get something like that once a week, that'd be golden.
Well, as a quarterback, we have the expression, if you're even, you're leaving. And that's what we saw from Trey Tucker, just pull away, kick it into overdrive, run right past that corner. That guy's got unusual straight line speed, Matt.
Yeah.
You played with a couple guys that had some.
Oh, yeah.
Cliff Branch, you had rare speed.
You were happy they were on your side.
You were happy you weren't chasing them around.
There's a reason when you see all Raiders historical videos, speed kills is right there in the center. And, of course, Cliff Branch, when he went into the Hall of Fame, big part of that couple years ago when we were all in Canton together. So Anthony Brown Jr. has played majority of this second half, but now the fourth quarterback for the Raiders, Carter Bradley, the son of former defensive coordinator Gus Bradley, getting his first snap in a Raider uniform, and it's a inside toss to Britton Brown, which doesn't go anywhere. Now, Carter Bradley, an undrafted free agent out of South Alabama, began his career at Toledo, 4 years in the Mid-American Conference. But 2 years ago at South Alabama, set the school record with 3,355 passing yards.
Had to bounce around a little bit. Great opportunity here in training camp with the Raiders. And, of course, we all know his father, who's had great success on the defensive side of the ball.
No toss to Britton Brown, and again, just pressure right up the middle. Taki Taimani got through, and he'll bring up 3rd down and long. And again, look, we've obviously focused, and rightfully so, on who's going to be the starter for this team, which also then means who's the backup for this team. But the ability for teams to have that 3rd quarterback, whether they're on the roster, right, which is that new rule from a couple years ago, you know, both these guys are trying to make this team in that spot.
This is where the Raiders have to get better. There's 3 areas. You have to be able to identify, you have to be able to get them into your building, and once you get them into your building, you have to be able to develop that position. Yep. And I'm not just talking about the starter. I'm talking about the second guy. I'm talking about the future. You know, a young player, developmental player. The Packers always did that. You know, you think about when they had Brett Favre, they drafted Aaron Rodgers. They had Aaron Rodgers, they drafted Jordan Love. You have to constantly be evaluating that position. You have to constantly be developing that position. And that's why it's important to have good young players on your roster at that position. One of these guys is probably going to make the practice squad. Chance to get a year under your belt. A chance to learn from veteran guys. A chance to get some good coaching. And a chance maybe to move up the depth chart the following season.
Yeah, he's thick.
Yeah.
Anthony Brown had that chance 2 years ago in Baltimore, ended up starting a game.
I was a late bloomer. I wasn't ready to play when I came out of Delaware. It took me several years to kind of learn offensive football, learn about defenses and fronts and coverages, and really get reps. I was a guy that really needed reps as a young player.
Paid off, too.
Yeah, sometimes, Matt, you know, my first came into the league, I came here to Minnesota. I played behind Tommy Kramer and Wade Wilson, 2, graybeards, guys that played a lot of football, both played in Pro Bowls, and so it took me a while. You know, you get a chance to play right away, but that's the beauty of it. Unfortunately, in our game nowadays, we draft you and we throw you out there, and too often before you're ready.
Well, remember, there were 6 quarterbacks taken
in the first round.
Well, not only that, but in the top 12 picks.
Yeah.
Another boomer from A.J. Cole. Nice there, Thomas, back to the 13-yard line. That is 60 yards on the punt from Cole. You know he's in midseason form. 6:14 to go in the opening preseason game here in Minneapolis. Antonio Pierce and the Raiders set a 20-7 lead at the half, up 23-21. And a long conversation, and Antonio Pierce, 9 games last year as the interim coach to earn the job. He went 5-4. And, you know, you ask him what made the difference. You know, I think our staff is really good at putting players in position to do what they do well.
That's the whole key. Don't ever ask a player to do something he can't do. I mean, people make that mistake all the time.
Ride to the run to the outside, and he's chased down from behind. Ellerson Smith on the tackle after a 9-yard gain.
Yeah, I think good coaches, you know, as you said, they focus on what you do well, what you've got a history of doing, what you're comfortable doing, and then they build a game plan around that. And I think, you know, you talk about AP's philosophy. I think he's trying to make sure the entire building sees the vision and clearly understands the path to get there. And I think he's trying to create a culture and environment that's conducive to winning. Discipline, physicality. I think you took over last year. The penalties were down. The turnovers and takeaways were up. Offensively, the turnovers were down.
Darren Hall got away. Maybe a hold. There is a flag thrown in the backfield, so this completion probably coming back. And we'll find out what the flag was, but it was thrown right at the feet of the quarterback.
And just to pay off AP real quick, I just think that you're going to see a little bit of a
right there
grab right there in the middle of your screen. Took him to the ground. Good takedown, Matt. But, you know, you think about going away to Costa Mesa. You know, I like that. You know, I think 17 days.
Offense, number 65. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
You know, going somewhere.
5 minutes, 27 seconds, please.
Ronald Torberg continues to interrupt you here.
Yeah, as I was saying. But 17 days, you really bring a football team together. You get away from all the distractions. You focus on just football. And I think it's a good thing, Matt. You and I did it back in the day. Went away to training camp. You know, I think it's important.
Yeah, every team did it back then. Yeah. But now they have these
facilities.
Facilities are different, obviously. And training camp is different.
Yeah,
pads,
100%.
the length of it, the length of it, all of it.
My rookie year, we went to training camp for 10 weeks. Still bothers me.
You were angry about that in the car ride over to the stadium this afternoon.
Who does that?
After the penalty, 2nd and 11, nobody home. Miscommunication thrown right in the secondary.
I do know this about when Matt came into the league before I did, but I caught the tail end of it where we had long training camps. I mean, it was so, I would say this, our camps were a lot longer. They were more physical. We put the pads on twice a day, and for sure, we drank more beer. What'd you say, Matt?
I know. I don't know a lot of things, but I know that last point. You are dead on.
But it was, I just remember as a rookie, we'd weigh in, and they'd have a scale. And then on the one side of the scale, they'd have offensive players. On the other side of the scale, they had defensive players. And it was a Gatorade list. And honestly, it seemed like, to me anyway, there was 100 players' names on the right side and 100 players' names on the left side. And they would come in with a Sharpie, and they would cross off players' names each week.
Yeah.
And you thought to yourself, am I going to make this team? I mean, it was just like it was a death march to the finish line. And we brought 120 players to camp.
And remember, up until 2 years ago, you had multiple cutdowns during the preseason. Now, there's just that one cutdown day after that final preseason game.
It was a
punt return from McAllister, got some space, and Tyreek McAllister with a nice return.
He had a shot, and he knew it. And one guy to beat, flag is down.
And that's another position the Raiders are still trying to sort through. Who's going to return punts and kicks this year?
There was a flag down right at midfield, so you'd think this coming back maybe with a hold. But either way, Tyreek McAllister showing off some abilities.
Holding. Number 33 of the return team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Las Vegas keeps the ball. 1st and 10.
What do you make of that, too? I mean, that part of all this different. And, Matt, you were a general manager for nearly a decade in this league. How different is that for front offices where they don't have to incrementally shorten the roster? It's just one time.
Yeah, it makes it different. It's just... So, if I contrast how we did it years ago and as opposed to now, it's a completely different game. That's the first thing. The second thing is they have an off season, which we never had before. The off season was just, we'll see you in March at mini camp for 3 days, and then you're in training camp. So all that's changed now, and so I just think it's become a really big business on a lot of different fronts, and you got to stay ready all season long. So it's just different.
Notice, Rich, he didn't say a yay or nay on the amount of beer that was drank either.
And I'm not a drinker, so I was never. But I had to buy a lot of drinks for people. Let me put it that way.
4:20 to go and counting for Carter Bradley. Raiders trying to milk this clock on the ground, gain a couple of first downs, maybe put it away with the offense on the field. But this group of the offensive line has not been able to get a push here. And it'll bring up 3rd down and long.
Regardless of how you do it, regardless how long the process is, this month or these weeks in July and August are absolutely critical to how you build out your team, these decisions that you make, the practices every day, the meetings. I tell young players, every day you walk into the building, you're being evaluated. Are you on time? Do you come early? Do you stay late? Are you a good note taker? What do you like in the weight room? What do you like in the meeting room? How consistent are you on the practice field? And certainly these preseason games matter too. Every play is being evaluated by not just the coaches, but the personnel people, the general manager. They are trying to decide who are the best players to make this Raiders roster in 2024.
And the one thing that gets overlooked a lot is your personality.
Yeah.
You got to fit. You got to be smart. Smart players are your best players.
And tough.
Yeah, and toughness.
And I think you look at this coaching staff, and that's what they're trying to build. They're trying to build a physically and mentally tough football team and a disciplined team. And I think that was important when AP took over. The mistakes, the penalties were down. The turnovers on offense, they took the ball away. They were more aggressive on defense. Scoring was down defensively. A lot of positives when you look back to how they finished the 2023 season.
Here, Thomas on the run. Fair catch called for at the 11-yard line. For another 46-yard punt without anything on the return. Well, cement your Raiders legacy today with an engraved brick displayed outside Allegiant Stadium. Proceeds benefit the Raiders Foundation, supporting military veterans, youth, and health and wellness initiatives. For more information, visit RaidersFoundationBricks.com. See all those when you walk into Allegiant Stadium. Again, we will be there next weekend. Saturday, the Raiders will take on the Cowboys. Then it is the following Friday against the 49ers. All on the rollout, man at his face, deep downfield. Oh, what a catch! N'Keal Harry went up high to bring it down for Minnesota.
Boy, I really felt like Sanford had a chance to make a play on that ball. He tried to undercut him. You're going to see him right here.
An incomplete pass.
Oh, he had it.
Down.
Boy, he had a chance to make that play.
Now, Rich, they ruled that an incomplete pass on the field. He's certainly bobbling it in the air. Does it hit the ground? I don't know, but, well, how about here?
No, I think he's
got that.
Yeah, they're going to win that one.
And there, immediately the challenge flag was thrown by Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, great catch, great concentration by Harry to bring that one in.
Minnesota has challenged the ruling in the field of an incomplete pass. The previous plays under review.
Now, this should not take time. By the way, this gives us an opportunity to highlight this year. This is something new this year. In the NFL, if you win not both, but one of your two challenges this year, coaches now get a third.
The receiver completed the catch.
That was a quick one. They punched that one in from upstairs. That was done quickly. Clearly, you can tell by the replay that he maintains control of the football through the ground.
And doesn't touch anything.
Yeah, and he scoops it back up under there. And look at that. Good look at Kevin O'Connell. He's got his work cut out trying to decide who's going to start a quarterback as well week one.
Well, he had 4 quarterbacks start games last year. It's a hard. Kirk Cousins with the Achilles injury changed all that.
That's a hard way to go through a season.
Better believe it.
Well, after the 17-yard gain, that's caught by Thayer Thomas. Nice tackle. Malga wrapped him up at the 34-yard line. Well, you talked about the intensity and Antonio Pierce and all of that. This is a Raiders team has had to lead most of this ball game. Yes, these are guys trying to make the roster, but they don't want to lose anything. Hall, again. That's incomplete. Amari Gaynor, the rookie linebacker out of North Carolina, there in coverage, and it'll bring him third down, which will bring us to the 2-minute warning here in Minnesota. Raiders look good in the opening half. Can they finish off a victory here on the road in Minneapolis? It's time for Rookie Spotlight, brought to you by Allegiant, the official airline of the Las Vegas Raiders. Low fares, nonstop flights booked now only at Allegiant.com. Number 13 overall, Brock Bowers. Most didn't expect him to fall to that spot. He did. Raiders were happy to select him. He's on the field for the opening series, and he had a couple of grabs to move things along for Aiden O'Connell and company.
He's going to be a huge part of this offense. He's going to take the middle of the field and make it something that you have to defend every week.
You can line him up anywhere. I think position versatility, just going to look at that group. But a lot of those players, when you look at this class, a lot of them played multiple years, 3-year starters. You look at some of these guys that won postseason awards. Brock Bowers was the Mackey Award winner. Jackson Powers Johnson won the Remington Trophy last season. These guys played a lot of football and had a lot of success and have a lot of experience as they come to the NFL.
Even Trey Taylor in the 7th round, the Jim Thorpe Award winner out of Air Forces, is the nation's top defensive back. Third down for Jaron Hall. It's off the helmet of McBride, and a dangerous pass, and that'll bring a 4th down and an opportunity for the Raiders to start this game away.
And that's on the quarterback. You can't throw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Sometimes you have to throw a couple different pitches, man. Take a little off it. The guy's right in front of you. Let's not knock him down with the ball. Give him a catchable ball and get him into transition to the run.
Maybe it was a curveball.
I don't know.
Gosh. Could have been faster.
Pitchers are throwing faster off speed these days. That is true. Kevin O'Connell knows he does have 3 timeouts.
And they only have 10 on the field. That's where you got the late substitution.
Don't want to take one of those 3 timeouts there. They do get it away. A fair catch called for by McAllister at the 12-yard line. So, hey, listen, it's still opportunity for the coaches to play how they'd handle regular season. Certainly a little bit different. But with 3 timeouts left, if he chooses, they will. Minnesota has the opportunity to get the ball back, which all that means is first down for Carter Bradley and an opportunity to win this game.
You know, back when Matt was playing in the preseason, he had a philosophy. Anything but overtime. You know what I mean? That was his philosophy.
That has not changed.
Matt wasn't overly concerned one way. What he didn't want to do was stick around for another 15 minutes.
Oh, my goodness. That was brutal. Just brutal.
Oh.
Well, barring his safety, you won't get that here this afternoon.
Take care of the ball.
And they did not gain a yard and a timeout taken, so they get 4 seconds off the clock for Sincere McCormick.
The good offenses have the ability to finish games. In this situation, we talk about movement and offense. They're playing with the lead, being able to run the football 3 times and make a first down.
Well, we have not seen Carter Bradley put the ball in the air yet. They've run it even on 3rd and long before this. If you're just joining us, Aiden O'Connell got the start. He only had 1 series. It began at their own 5-yard line after the defense forced a 4th down stop. Jacorian Bennett had a nice break up in the end zone. Long drive for O'Connell, a field goal. Then Gardner Minshew had 4 series the rest of the half. You know, again, we talked to Antonio Pierce right before halftime. He said it wasn't the way we drew it up, but just by game situations, how it came out to be. And we'll see how that changes next week when they play the Cowboys.
I think you'll see Gardner Minshew get the start next week, and Aiden O'Connell come in pretty early.
Toss play again to McCormick, and absolutely nowhere to run. Brought down by Owen Porter. And so now 3rd down, and will you see Carter Bradley put it up in the air?
Second charge timeout. Minnesota, this is a 30-second timeout.
I think they'll run it one more time.
40 seconds, please. 1:42. The clock
And
will
bring
start
in
on the snap.
A.J. Cole and play defense.
Yeah, put it on the defense's shoulders again. Biggest takeaways, Rich, so far from game number 1?
You know, I like the fact that they came out offensively regardless of which quarterback was playing, whether it was Aiden or Gardner, and looked really sharp. I think they played with a purpose, a sense of urgency, which is really good to see in the preseason. I thought both quarterbacks looked comfortable. I think the offensive line, we haven't talked a lot about that. I think the offensive line played pretty well. I think we saw some of the skill positions. I think defensively, Matt, just my thoughts, a little bit sloppy on that side of the ball.
Yeah, and all correctable things, but you have a lot of different people. A lot of different people playing at the same time. So, yeah, I agree with you. I just think that I think they're in a better place than we were a year ago. I think this is a better football team than a year ago. They have more strengths.
And I think sometimes, you know, you finish a season, and I think the way the Raiders finished the season, they had an opportunity to just pack it in when they made the coaching change. They didn't do that. They rallied around Antonio Pierce. I think they carried some of that confidence and momentum into the offseason program. The offseason program, the participation was outstanding. You look at guys like, you know, Max Crosby, Devontae Adams. It's important to them. I think they're developing more leaders on this football team, but it starts with Antonio Pierce. His message to this team, what they're trying to accomplish, they're tired of losing. And I'm excited about this roster in this season that is right around the corner.
We'll put it on the foot of A.J. Cole one more time. There, Thomas is a running start from his 36, and he'll step out of bounds at the 42.
Well, they don't need much here. They got a minute 31, and they won't be. The Raiders got to do some good things here defensively to prevent them from kicking a field goal.
Now, upcoming schedule: the Cowboys next Saturday in Allegiant Stadium. We will finish with the Niners on a Friday night. Don't forget open practice at Allegiant Stadium on the 14th to the fans, as well as on August 20th. Both those there with Antonio Pierce and company. And then week 1. Technically, Antonio Pierce in his first year as head coach, first full year against Jim Harbaugh, who's now back in the NFL.
Former Raider assistant coach. Knows a little something about the silver and black.
Hall, deep over the middle. Nice job by Gainer to get his hand on that and deflect it.
That was big. That little deflection made That's a huge difference because that was going to be a completion.
Nice job by Gaynor getting depth.
Trey Knox was right down the slot.
Wow, really well done.
That was really well done.
Now the two Amaris at linebacker, Bernie in his second year out of Florida, and then Gaynor in his rookie season on North Carolina, both have played pretty well here in the second half. The 2nd and 10 for Jaron Hall. Raiders can't get pressure, able to settle on the pocket, and he delivers. That is caught. Phelan Sanford made the stop, but Ty James, the rookie out of Mercer, has a first down for Minnesota. And again, preseason records and all of those things, you want your defense to get a stop. No matter the situation, they want this game to end with a Raiders victory.
Screen.
Over the head of McBride and incomplete. So it was one too hard off McBride's head, and then that one a little too soft over his head.
Yeah, and they had too much time in between right there. That was they lost 15 seconds. That shouldn't be. They need a little faster there.
Well, the other thing too, Rich, if you're Minnesota, you've got a rookie kicker, right? 6th-round pick, Will Reichard. You start to wonder too if you want to see what he can do at the end of the game.
Yeah, you want to give him on the line. You definitely want to give this kid an opportunity to close it out.
Oh, again, clean pocket. Thayer Thomas got away from the first defender. Inbounds, Wu Governor made the stop, but they are down to the 39-yard line. So from here, it would be about a 56-yard field goal.
Yeah, he's still going to bring him closer.
Las Vegas.
And Antonio Pierce takes his first timeout with 39 seconds to go.
Wants to get a chance to talk about the situation. Obviously, the Vikings have no timeouts left.
And there's the rookie from Alabama. 2-time All-American, 547 career points for Will Reichard is an NCAA record.
They scored a lot of touchdowns last time I checked down there at Alabama.
Yeah, but you don't score 540 points with touchdowns. You score 547 points with field goals.
Yeah, but they had a lot of touchdowns.
Had a lot of extra points.
Yeah. Played on some great teams, that's for sure.
No question about that.
And college landscape's going to look a little different this fall without Nick Saban pacing the sidelines for the Crimson Tide.
And he will be on TV this year.
As will Bill Belichick. It's going to look a little different in New England.
Yeah, both of those guys, people are going to be surprised because they both have personalities that they don't like to show the public.
All right, big stop here.
They're down 3. Raiders don't have a sack yet today. Can they get one? Hall.
Ooh.
Nope, it's caught. Thayer Thomas. And Antonio Pierce races up to get his second timeout now with 45 seconds. So easily in field goal range now for Minnesota. You wonder too if you're Antonio Pierce, you take those timeouts, but because of the time, you can't actually get the ball back here.
No,
I don't understand why we take a timeout. You want to put the pressure back on them. You want to put pressure on them to try to hurry up and make a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings could just run the ball a couple times.
Well, you understand the first one because if you get the 3rd down stop and they make a long field goal, you do have time for your offense to do it, which if they had taken all that time off,
the game's over. The game's over. If they miss it, the game's over, so it's no big deal.
If they miss it, that's correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
But now the way with the Vikings having the first down, you can't get the ball back.
Yeah, the Vikings just going to probably run the ball here once, and then they've got to be careful because they've got to clock it to get the field goal unit back on the field.
Yeah, I didn't understand that timeout.
There's the run play to McBride into the arms of Gaynor. And final timeout taken by Antonio Pierce with 40 seconds to go in the game.
Why would you take the timeout?
Vegas has called its 3rd.
I don't get it.
Timeout of the half. This is a 30-second timeout.
And we'll get the chance to talk to Coach Pierce before next week and ask the analytics strategy there, what his thoughts are there. We can talk about that next week. But for now, see if the game will come down to the foot of Will Reichard.
It's not really going to matter. I mean, the Vikings can run the ball again here and run the clock down.
What do you think his biggest takeaways will be from this game?
I think there's a lot of positives when you go back and watch the film. I think we talked a lot about what they were offensively with both the quarterbacks. I think that, there's some things that need to get cleaned up, but I think overall, I think you're just trying to build on, what you've accomplished those 17 days in training camp. And I just think they've got to be pleased with the direction this team is heading.
Now, the first and second team offenses had 230 yards in the first half, and the Raiders did lead this game 20-7 at the half. There is that last run for McBride. Again, no more timeouts remaining for either team. So Minnesota will have to bring on Will Reichard or spike the ball maybe with 2 or 3 seconds left to get him on there. They'll have that opportunity to do that and a chance to win this at the buzzer with a field goal.
Yeah, they're just going to wind this thing down
and take one spike here with 3 seconds.
That's it. Well, you get what you want. You want to get a chance to have the rookie kicker kick the game winner.
And they do spike it with 3 seconds to go. Now remember, the Raiders did have a blocked field goal earlier this game.
And the question is, do you save one of those timeouts to ice the kid? That's the other side of it. You talk about timeouts. It is a preseason game. I don't think this kid's too nervous.
Well, he is the only kicker on the roster. That doesn't mean if it doesn't go well, they can't bring another one in. But Reichard on to try a 38-yard attempt to win this ball game for Minnesota. Good snap, solid hold. Kick is right down the middle. And a walk-off victory for Minnesota on a 38-yard field goal, with the Raiders falling this afternoon 24-23. But all around for Max Crosby and the first-team defense, they didn't give up any points in the opening quarter. The offense put together 4 scoring drives in the first half. And so those questions that you wanted answered coming into this game from the guys that are expected to be the main contributors here in 2024, you got some answers that you're going to like.
Yeah, I think you saw some good runs from the backs. We talked a lot about what we saw from Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell in the first half. I think, Tucker had a nice game. Of course, the big catch for 44 on a critical third down that kept that drive alive. And I really like what these young tight ends are going to bring to the mix, Mayer and Bowers. I just think that's going to be an explosive, dynamic group for whichever quarterback lines up under center week 1.
Yeah, that's my takeaway, those tight ends. Tight ends, that gives them a piece of an offense that they haven't had before to work the middle of the field.
Just look at the tight end situation in Kansas City with Travis Kelce and the impact that he makes against every team that they face with Patrick Mahomes. When you have a dynamic, explosive tight end that can win in the middle of the field, that can win against linebackers and safeties, that is a huge, huge advantage for an offense. To have a great one. I think the Raiders are going to have a great one.
Now, they've got a second-year tight end in Michael Mayer, and then the rookie Brock Bowers, certainly part of that, but also a second-year wide receiver in Trey Tucker, who had a very big-time catch earlier in this game of 44 yards. 2 grabs today for 73, and Trey is joining us down there on the field. Trey, everyone wanted to see what this offense would look like here in its first look against another team. What was your takeaway of how this team played in the first half offensively?
I think it's just a testament to what we've been doing through training camp and just how explosive we can be. It's not an overnight thing. Obviously we still got a few more preseason games left before it gets real. So we're going to just keep chopping away at it, but definitely like some things that I saw out there today.
Trey, I know you went back after last season and looked at all the cut-ups, looked at all the snaps that you played. What were a couple areas of your game where you feel you can make the most improvement heading into the 2024 season?
Everything. My thing is I want to be great, so I don't just look at 1 or 2 things. Look at your whole body of work and what you did, and then extract all the bad things, and then attack those. And that's kind of what I did that's what I did do this offseason, and I'm going to continue to keep doing that.
Trey, I thought you played an excellent game. I love the way you adjusted on that deep ball, which is not an easy thing to do. So I want to know who throws a better ball, Minshew or O'Connell?
both of them throw great balls. You know, it's my job to come down with it. Whoever puts it in the air, you know, that's how receivers are getting paid a lot of money now.
Yeah, and Matt Millen gave you a question that you can answer. Trey, thank you very much, bud. Have a wonderful trip.
I appreciate it.
We'll see you next week against the Cowboys.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate
Trey
it.
Tucker, our post-game interview brought to you by Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, the official soft drink of the Las Vegas Raiders. Final stats here in this ball game. The Vikings put up over 450 yards. Both teams had around 230 in the first half, but J.J. McCarthy, big third quarter for Minnesota. But again, the offense in the first half with the first and second team players, they played a very good ball game.
The one thing that I'd like to see from the Raiders defense is they still didn't generate a pass rush consistently, right? Unless they brought some pressure. Other than that, of course, Max wasn't in there all the time, and I understand the personnel part, but we still have to be able to generate a pass rush with just 4.
Yeah. And then the other question that's going to come out of this, right, Rich? It's the same question that coming into this game. The Raiders, do they have a better handle on who the quarterback will be in 2024? And they both played well today.
I think it's a good situation to have as you go into week 2 of the preseason, and I just think that you want to continue to develop that position. You want to continue to be competitive, and the best man to win. I think what Antonio Pierce is looking for is one of them, just one of them, to grab the bull by the horns. One of them to clearly distinguish themselves as the best player at that position. And we're still going to, unfortunately, need some time to figure that out.
Yeah, but fortunately, it's because both played well. And that's the positive for the Raiders, who had a 20-7 lead at the half, could not hold it in the second half. The Vikings went out here today 24-23. For Rich Gannon and Matt Millen, I am Jason Horowitz. We'll see you next Saturday at Allegiant Stadium when the Raiders take on the Cowboys. Take care, folks.